Erica Kirk, who took TPUSA's reins after her husband's death in September, held a discussion with surprise guest Nicki Minaj. The vice president told the crowd that the political coalition formed by President Trump is strong enough to surmount disagreements within. People of every faith come to our banner because they know that the America First movement will make our lives better, he went on. They know Democrats don't care about anything other than transing their kids. A prestigious all-girls boarding school in Massachusetts where students pay up to $79,000 a year for tuition and room and board is facing a sweeping sexual abuse scandal after a newly released independent investigation found decades of misconduct by multiple employees and years of institutional failures that allowed alleged predators to remain in the classroom. The investigation centers on former Miss Hall's school history teacher Matthew Rutledge, who taught at the elite Pittsfield, Massachusetts campus for more than 30 years. A leading contender to become President Trump's next Federal Reserve chair said the administration expects larger tax refunds and higher take-home pay next year, as many Americans continue to express concerns about affordability. But we're going to see the biggest refund cycle ever in the history of America, and people are going to get massive refund checks, National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett said in an interview on Fox. Our quote of the day: in her voyage across the ocean of this world, the church is like a great ship being pounded by the waves of life's different stresses. Our duty is not to abandon ship, but to keep her on her course. St. Boniface. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for cappuccino holy roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
It's officially fall, y'all, and time for cooking with the KingDude indoor tailgating with my Chicken Mamu seasoning that makes chicken wings so good they can even make a Democrat happy. Here's how. You'll need 5 pounds of natural, hormone-free, fresh chicken wings, olive oil, and a bottle of my Chicken Mamu seasoning. To butcher, brine, season, then bake those wings to crispy, golden brown perfection.
Wow, I hope I get invited to the KingDude's next tailgate.
Or if your invite got lost in the mail, don't get angry, get cooking.
And get your Chicken Mamu seasoning and this recipe at shop.mychurch.com/chicken.
Where are you going? The spot's not over.
To see if my invite's in the mail.
Hey, Lee, you know, we've known each other for a bit now. I just wonder, what do you really love to do?
I love posting civilization-saving threads on X.com, but I get so tired of outrage porn scrolling my medulla has gone oblong blanca.
Well, I know just the thing. Pour an iced cappuccino holy roast coffee, put your earbuds in, and catch 2 hours of suspense, the greatest of all mystery, horror, and whodunit classic radio serials.
Perfect. While you were talking, I completely forgot who Jack Posobiec was.
Catch all 900-plus episodes of Suspense every weekday from noon to 2 p.m. East on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and classic radio,
the way it should be.
You can learn all about today's Saint of the Day at the Saint of the Day podcast at CrusadeChannel.com. Now, looking at headlines from around the world today, the latest collection of Epstein file photos released by the Justice Department includes disturbing pictures that appear to show the dead pedophile kissing and cozying up to little girls. One image displayed on a wall shows a naked infant in a bath. The never-before-seen snapshots were framed and displayed on an intricately carved wooden bookshelf at his estate on Little St. James Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The unnamed kids appear to be much younger than the teenagers who Epstein confessed to paying for sex as part of his sweetheart deal with federal prosecutors in 2008. And the new photos come as one whistleblower was vindicated by the document dump after she said she warned the FBI in 1996 about Epstein's sickening interest in child pornography. It's not clear who the children are or if any of them are Epstein's victims. In the new photos, he's seen draped in a robe, looking content, with his eyes closed as he cradles what appears to be a very young blonde girl in his arms. Another shows him smiling while seated in a plush seat on a private jet with his arm wrapped around a girl wearing a powder blue sweatshirt. He looks directly at the camera as he kisses a red-headed girl wearing what appears to be pigtails in another chilling photo. A massive power outage plunged large portions of San Francisco into darkness on Saturday, knocking out electricity to about 130,000 homes and businesses, leaving self-driving cars stalled in city streets. Pacific Gas and Electric did not immediately say what caused the blackouts to roughly 1/3 of the utility company's customers in that city. Fire officials posted on X about 3:15 that at least some of the blackouts were caused by a fire that broke out inside a PG&E substation. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
The Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Kalikimaka is the thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day. That's the island greeting that we send to you from the land where palm trees sway. Here we know that Christmas will be green and bright. The sun will shine by day and all the stars at night. Kalikimaka is a wise way to say Merry Christmas to you. Thank you, girl.
Kalikimaka is the thing to say.
Now wait a minute now. Why'd y'all have to publish that picture of me and that there hot tub there? I only did it once. I mean, that weekend I only did it once. Well, the Epstein files are out just in time for Christmas cards. That's a little joke there. Final broadcast week of the year for the Mike Church Show here on a Monday. Xing the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
No, you can't.
For a safe and secure society.
So I'm calling on Congress to pass these reforms, and I'm going to sign them into law. You called down the thunder, well now you got it. You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Alrighty, our call-in line telephone number if you'd like to be on the program today, 844-527-8723, 844-5-Crusade, email address same as it ever hath been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. And the Crusader Stadium chat room is open for your commentary. Play nice today, children, at crusadechannel.com/chat. And we are streaming live all over the planet, including on our app at crusadechannel.com/app. Check in with the flight controllers for the last time this year.
Flight controllers, listen up.
Give me a go.
Give me a go, no go for launch.
Chat room.
Go.
Video.
Go.
Podcast.
We're go fly.
Fax.
Guidance, go.
Transom.
Go flight.
Recording.
We're go flight.
X.
GNC.
We're go.
YouTube.
Control.
Right book.
Procedures.
Go.
Inco.
Go.
Wing and a prayer. Go.
We are go.
Network.
Video.
Recovery.
Wirecast.
Capcom.
Newsletter.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
What are you nodding your head at so early in the broadcast today?
Oh, I was Nicki Minaj.
Oh, well, wait a minute now. Conservatism is saved.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj is here. I don't know why we didn't think of this before. Funny thing to me, people like to say, you like to do this, you like to do that, it's just stupid bread and circuses. You're not a real serious conservative. I hear this oftentimes if I say something about a movie I watched or a football game that I took in, like the Saints kicking the Jets behind yesterday. I'll get bread and circuses, CKD. Come on, you're better than that. What was Nicki Minaj making the Gavin Newsom heart on the TPUSA stage while the pyrotechnics were going off? Because nothing says conservatism like miniskirts and pyrotechnics. Just like nothing says Advent and the coming of Christmas like horrible renditions of the Little Drummer Boy with drummers suspended from the ceiling while little harlots do yoga moves in yoga pants that are neon green on the stage. But it was Jesus was there. Boy, I came in this morning to do the news, and Mrs. O'Connell was playing this. Sounds to me like it's a heavy metal band of some sort, but I'm kind of recognizing, just barely recognizing the melody. So I go, are they trying to do Little Drummer Boy? And she goes, yeah, how'd you know? I said, well, I mean, I can hear it. It's because of my highly trained professional ears, I can hear things most people can't hear. And I was detecting that there was a pathetic attempt at Little Drummer Boy. Oh, folks. No, you can't put it in the chat. No, if you do not make that my background. Oh, you know what? That'd be funny, wouldn't it? That could be my Christmas background. Okay, there it is. We saw it. You have to see it. This is some evangelical Six Flags Over Jesus, Little Drummer Boy, Christmas celebration. I mean, nothing screams Jesus like neon lights, I got to tell you. And little Pop-Tarts dancing in the background in leggings. And then here come the drummers descending from the ceiling. I mean, doesn't that scream cave at Bethlehem that the Savior of the human race is about to be born? Because it screams it to me. If you're not watching this, if you're listening on the radio, consider yourself fortunate. Thank the Lord your ears can't take it. You know what? All right, Mag, if you're going to do this, you got to go back to the beginning and you got to give them the audio. Okay. Radio people just serve the audio too. I mean, I hear Bethlehem, don't you? Wow. Please make it stop.
Sorry.
Make it stop. Make it go away. Who posted that?
It's Prestonwood Baptist Church in Dallas.
I mean, I was right there. Clark, baby, I can see it in my mind. The little lights aren't twinkling, Clark. It's now just like an anachronism. So that's what I heard the first thing I came in this morning. I didn't hear any other soundbite. I heard, It was almost as bad as if I walked into some service that the Zion King was putting on. So that is as you said, it's what Baptist church in Dallas?
It is Prestonwood Baptist Church in Dallas.
I was right there. I mean, I really felt like I was in the holy cave. The choir of angels was just getting ready to fire up. Gloria in excelsis Dei. I mean, they were so close. It was right there. So we had to hear it. Now you have to hear it. Some of you, unfortunately, had to see it. No, that is not the subject of the program today. I won't waste any more precious airtime discussing it because it's so darn silly. Let's talk about this. So the Epstein files, or more of the Epstein files, were released this weekend. And this time there were, what, did you say 3,800 images?
Oh, it's well over that. It's way over that.
Okay, so Maggie downloaded the entire file.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, don't download the entire file. It'll just depress you. But there are however many thousands of images. One of them, 9,664 images in the Epstein files. Some of them are redacted, or there's a lot of them that are redacted. I would imagine because there are children in them. I'm just guessing. But some of the pictures, because people like him pictures, that did make their way out. What was the New York Post headline? Tubba Bubba? or Bubba Tubba? It's President Clinton in Epstein's hot tub with some poor child, teenage girl. You can't, they redacted her face. They put a block over her face. You plainly see that he's in there. Somebody's, I'm sure Democrats are going to say that just because he was in a hot tub and it was a teenage. You wouldn't catch me or any self-respecting Christian man in a hot tub with teenage girls. In the only scenario under which, and you'd have to be, and you wouldn't do this either, the only scenario under which is possible that this could happen is if, let's just say, you had teenage daughters and they had some hoop-de-doo sleepover, and while you were out enjoying a evening in the hot tub, they got bored and decided that they wanted to jump in. So many things that are wrong with that already. You would, of course, remove yourself. And you'd remove yourself because of the possibility that someone could take a picture of you with teenage girls. You just wouldn't do it. Yeah, but if it were just innocent or whatever, I don't know that there's anything that's even possible for that to be innocent. Certainly, in the situation that Clinton was in, it wasn't. And the fact that they can you imagine that you were the person or persons that had to go through those files, 9,664 pictures, because people like him pictures, and then you had to do the redacting? Yeah, I mean, because there are aged, ugly, older, primarily white guys in various stages of undress that you can't unsee if you go through this. I don't think that there was anything, you could see the screenshot that Maggie put in there of all the pictures there and of all the ones that are, okay, so the ones with the black lines over, those are redacted?
A lot of them are redacted.
Okay. And and then you can see that some of them aren't, and then it's almost like it's a spreadsheet, right, with the image number or whatever it is, whatever the JPEG is called in the file. Interestingly enough, there were, because of the amount of images that were released, and people are still going through them, interestingly enough, there are people in those pictures. Some of them easily identifiable. One particular guy that I kept seeing in the ones, and I didn't go through that many of them, and I kept seeing him, and I still haven't identified the dude, but somebody is going to. This guy is a world-class pervert. I mean, like, leader of the pack perv. So, in any event, that part of the files are out now. I'm not sure how that, other than embarrassing Bill Clinton, it is embarrassing. I wonder if Hillary took a frying pan to him. There is somebody pointed this out. Michael Jackson appears in some of these pictures, or supposedly he did. And someone was like, no, that's not at Epstein's Island. That is at an actual event that Michael was invited to perform at, that Epstein showed up at. And I guess there was photo ops or whatever for people that donated big bucks to it. And Epstein was, I guess, one of them. And so they have a picture of Michael Jackson in there. And of course, everyone's like, see, I told you, Michael Jackson, this... I don't think that is. I don't think that the Jacko, as they call him. I don't think that Michael was one of those. I don't. In any event, we'll talk about it as the program unfolds in front of your very ears here today. Let me mention that we begin the day. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the chat room window, you will see that the December crowdfunding, which has a $10,000 goal, is now at $7,061. So an amazing weekend of fundraising. Thanks to so many people, including a couple of, there were 3 donors that each put up $1,000. But I think there's 52 total donors now. Thank you. Can we get to the 10,000 today? Can we knock the remainder out? CrusadeChannel.com/donate. That's CrusadeChannel.com/donate, or tap the donate links at the top and bottom of the Crusader Stadium chat room. Nothing says grieving widow in conservatism like appearing on a stage with pyrotechnics. Now, I'm not one of these people that's going to give Erica Kirk any grief over this, but that's one of the popular memes that is out there. Either you're going to have the AmFest thing or you're not. So if you're going to have it and people bought all these tickets to it, well, then I think you have to go out and you've got to do the show. And by the way, a lot of it is show. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just don't say that this is how conservatism is advanced. I think it's healthy for people to get together in person instead of doing it online. I actually think that's something that is very constructive. And I don't think you have to sit around and have breakout sessions and discuss how you're going to save the world. I think it's probably just good enough that you hang out together, maybe share a meal and a conversation. Maybe it's even better if you don't talk policy. We're saving the planet. But one thing that I'd say that the big takeaway from the whole thing, or at least one of my big takeaways from the whole thing, is exactly what we have been talking about, the cult of personality. And now there's a turf war that's going on. And you have all your big name players that are in it. Apparently, Lil Ben Shapiro appointed himself as conservator. And he is the arbiter of who's in and who's out. And if the Ben father says you're out, well, then you're out. And and it's the duty of the rest of conservatism to weed out, to root out, and to kick out. I don't know what you actually get kicked out of. To get kicked out of whatever it is that conservatism supposedly stands for. And I was telling Maggie earlier today, let me just take you back into the KingDude's Wayback Machine. It used to be back in the 70s and 80s and even through the 90s, and I would imagine up until very recently, Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment was observed. Ironically, one of the first people to break it was Trump. What was Reagan's 11th commandment? Thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican. Now, I don't know that Reagan ever had this inscribed on a stone tablet or that he ever actually wrote it down or had a plank of wood and used a wood burning tool to have it burned and etched in there so that it couldn't be easily erased. I think it was something that was just said in a spirit of camaraderie, if you will. But it makes a little bit, it makes sense, and it made a lot of sense back then because the Republican Party, outside of winning the presidency, had been shut out of power since 1958. Most people don't know this story. The Democrat Party took the House of Representatives in 1958 and ran it until Gingrich took the gavel in 1994. So do the math on that. That is what? 34 and 236. I think I shorted it. I think it's 1952, actually. I took the Democrats took the House. Maybe it was 48. They had it for the longest term since political parties had emerged in American politics. They had it for 44 years. 44 years until Newt took the gavel from, I think the last Democrat speaker was Tom Foley of Washington. I think it was, no, he was from Seattle, Foley was. 1949 to 1994. They had it. They controlled the Senate a majority of that time. So you could see then the damage that was done to the American polity because the Democrats, not only did they run Congress, they had the Senate most of the time. Look at the presidents. They had Kennedy, they had Johnson, they had Carter, and they had 2 years of Clinton. So it was the presidency was the only check on the Democrat Party in those 44 years. And look at the damage that they were able to do. And basically there was a revolution, right? That's why I think Reagan was right to say, don't speak ill. We're not in a majority.
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
Thousands of years ago, if you owned a book, you had to haul it home in a wagon, and you'd need your 2 oldest sons to carry it into the house. Then you'd need one family member who could read
The Story of Beowulf,
another to hold the candle,
hold it steady,
and another to turn the pages.
Not that close, you'll catch it on fire.
The good news for you is that was then and this is now. And now you have the Founders Trading Post store, where ordering, delivery, and reading your favorite books is literally a snap. Here's what's new this month.
The Transhumanist Temptation, How Technology and Ideology Are Reshaping Humanity and How to Resist by Grayson Quay.
This title and many other new releases are available alongside classics and favorites 24/7 at shopmikechurch.com. You can also shop using your app. Download and shop today at shopmikechurch.com/app.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Monday, December 22nd, 2025. This report is brought to you by the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, the best way to listen to the KingDude ever, and installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. In the market report at last close, the Dow was up 0.38%, the S&P 0.88%, NASDAQ was up as well 1.31%. In National Day calendar news, today is Forefathers Day, and each year Forefathers Day commemorates the landing of the Pilgrim Fathers in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Did you know that was on December 21st of 1620? The Old Colony Club of Plymouth, Massachusetts, introduced the observance in 1769. The town observes the holiday on December 22nd. It's also National Date Nut Bread. Believed to have originated around Iraq, dates have been a staple food of the Middle East and the Indus Valley for thousands of years. Dates provide essential nutrients and are an excellent source of dietary potassium. Our quote of the day: in her voyage across the ocean of this world, the church is like a great ship being pounded by the waves of life's different stresses. Our duty is not to abandon ship, but to keep her on her course. Saint Boniface. And you can learn all about today's Saint of the Day in the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Hello, Crusaders. It's Trader Jill, aka Lee. When I want the best in live talk radio in the palm of my hand, I always have it with the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, even for technophobes like Jim.
I heard that!
Listening to or watching the KingDude live or on podcast is just literally 2 clicks away, and installing the app is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. Tap login now or proceed as guest. See? It's really that simple. Don't ever be without the Master Chief himself. Again, no matter where you are, install the Crusade Channel app today.
The all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app is the best way to listen to the Crusade Channel ever. And installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. Install the Crusade Channel 2.0 app today at crusadechannel.com/app.
What's the difference between your average day late dollar short podcast and the Mike Church Show live? About the same as between the new Walker, Texas homo and Walt Longmire.
Actually, Lucy, my trouble is Christmas. I just don't understand it. Instead of feeling happy, I feel sort of let down.
You need involvement. You need to get involved in some real Christmas project. How would you like to be the director of our Christmas play?
Me? You want me to be the director of the Christmas play?
Sure, Charlie Brown. We need a director. You need involvement. We've got a shepherd, musicians, animals, everyone you need. We've even got a Christmas queen.
I don't know anything about directing a Christmas play.
Don't worry, I'll be there to help you. I'll meet you at the auditorium. Incidentally, I know how you feel about all this Christmas business, getting depressed and all that. It happens to me every year. I never get what I really want. I always get a lot of stupid toys or a bicycle or clothes or something like that.
What is it you want?
Real estate.
It's not a bad sentiment, actually.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best
Real
time
estate.
of the year. I
tell you what,
if there'll be snow.
I want the real estate, but I really want the property taxes repealed forever.
Holly jolly Christmas. And when you walk down the street, say hello to friends you know.
Hey, Blessed Advent. Today is day number 6, right? Of the O antiphons. Today is Rex Gentium. I think I heard sisters say that. I always try to figure it out because if you say arrow cross backwards, If you do the letters, then E-R-O. Yeah, today is Rex Gentium, King of the Gentiles. And then tomorrow is the Blessed is the last one, and that's Emmanuel. So if you're keeping up with the antiphons, you can keep up with them with the Saint of the Day and Slaves to the Immaculate Heart. Sister Maria Filomena is doing the Saints of the Day. Today is St. Francis Xavier Cabrini and St. Flavian, and the podcast is posted up at crusadechannel.com. And now you can take it with you on Pride Book and very soon X. So, in addition to taking it on the app, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at mypillow.com/KingDude. For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com/KingDude. You can still get those MyPillow classics for $14.98. $14.98. The queen size MyPillow for $18.99. And Kings for $19.99. Sale is going to end this week, so order today at mypillow.com/KingDude. Or if you just wind up at the mypillow.com website and just like, oh, I'm going to buy something there. Wait a minute. What was the Crusade Channel code? At checkout, you can always put a coupon code in. Put KingDude in, one word, KingDude. You get the same deal. We get the credit. So, for the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, mypillow.com/KingDude. Plus the My Slippers for $39.98. And many, many more sales. You've got a few days left to get stuff out and shipped at mypillow.com/KingDude. Thank you very much in advance. Just looking at some of the other news today. By the way, or by the by, and we're going to talk about this next hour. VeggieTales, Vivek MAGASwammied, said something at the TP USA at AmFest yesterday that's just stupid. Stupid. I also think incorrect. And then basically, he said, and I'm just going to paraphrase, we'll play the clip later. He basically said, no American is any better than any other American. It doesn't matter when you got here or when you started being American, as long as you are American today. Okay, so legally speaking, that's true. That's correct. That's fine. If you're second generation or whatever, okay, fine. Legally speaking, yes, you are as legal, and you're going to act all legalized and legal and stuff, as the next American. But to say or to imply, well, he didn't imply, he said it. To say that Americans that can trace their lineage generations back somehow are different kind of Americans, and he said more American. I don't think that that's the proper terminology, but you could say, and many of you do, and I've seen you say it, and I'm glad that you say it. I think you should keep saying it. Well, I'm a fifth generation Texas A&M grad. Yeah. You got a lot more stake in A&M than some punk that just got an H-1B visa and jumped off a boat and decided that because the nation of Qatar sent them there. Well, yeah, but they're applying for citizenship. Okay, fine. You don't have as much skin in that game as the fifth generation A&M guy. I was thinking when VeggieTales said this, I was thinking my friend Colonel Rob Manus. I think one of you guys in the chat room also has a common ancestor that fought in the Revolutionary War. I was thinking Colonel Rob Manus, which many of you know, but not most of you know. Colonel Manus, there was a Manus that actually fought in the Battle of Kings Mountain in 1779 or 1780, whenever it was. And if you've never been there, it's Kings Mountain, North Carolina. It's a kind of a National Historical Park today. You can actually go. It's actually pretty cool. You can actually go to Kings Mountain, and then you can watch a movie about the Battle of Kings Mountain and how, and I forget the name of the British general who was a fool, thinking he could take that hill, and he didn't take that hill. Him and all his men either died or were captured. But to say that Colonel Manus doesn't have a hereditary greater claim to being the descendant of someone that fought in the American Revolution is ridiculous. It's insulting. That's right, and it's just all feeds into this nonsense now that we're not America if we don't keep importing the third world here. And I think most people want the drawbridge pulled up. They don't want any more. And I think you're correct to think that. Let's just say you, and I know we have audience members that are members of the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution. Let's talk about the DAR for a minute. It's a great group. It's a fantastic group. I highly recommend if you have, and I'm not sure what the qualifications are, but you can apply, and you have to apply. Then you basically are vetted, and then if you make it through the vetting process, then you're admitted into the Daughters of the American Revolution, and it's a great group. It was. I'm trying to remember one of those groups was forced during the Biden regime. Was it DAR was forced to admit men as women? It was so ridiculous and so stupid. And, it's just upset many people because they're like, you can't do that. They're daughters, not fake daughters of the American Revolution. That's just one group that would make a claim like that and could say, well, no, they changed something.
They changed their bylaws to state that even if you were born a male and you considered yourself to be female, transgender, you could join.
You could join.
That was the fuss.
And didn't they change it back? I thought there was such an uproar over it that they were forced or they were compelled to change it back. They should have been forced or compelled to change it back. It's ridiculous. But in any event, that's just one group, the Daughters of the American Revolution. What about people that consider themselves, I am one, an SCV, Sons of Confederate Veterans? They're a very still, and in many places in the old Deep South, a august group of people that are descended from men that either fought in or died in the War of Northern Aggression, and fought for the Confederacy. That person, has a longer, greater hereditary stake in the Deep South than some piker who snuck in here from Mexico or Canada. Yeah, but what if you came in legal? I don't care. Build your own damn hereditary charge up or whatever. The idea, it's offensive. The idea. Well, why can't you have something that you're proud of and is in your lineage in India? Well, no, I want to come and be proud to be a man. No, why don't you be proud to be an Indian? Or a Paki or an Afghani or whatever the hell the case is. So in any event, he said it, I didn't say it, and it was not very well received. And there were several people, Sean Davis, the founder and editor of The Federalist, among them, like, this is just stupid. And here it is again. Now you can kind of see that Trump's fifth sense or his sixth sense about these things, that he must have seen this, and where he must have just sensed that Vivek MAGASwammied was all about MAGASwammian. and wasn't all that he's cracked out to be. I got to tell you, there's somebody wrote a book. I think it was Bob Terrell, who was the editor of the American Spectator, called "The Conservative Crack-Up." You can look this up. This book was published. This is 2025, probably 25 years ago. The Conservative Crack-Up. And Terrell was complaining about the way things were 25 years ago. I think he's still alive. I think he's like editor emeritus of the American Spectator still today. I wonder what Terrell would think about conservatism today, especially if you just did a cursory viewing of AmFest. Some of the speakers there, what you would think. There it is. Does this say what year that was published? The Conservative Crack-Up. And I don't think it. There's a
1992.
Oh, it was 92. Wow, it's older than I thought. I thought he had published it at the turn in this millennium. In any event, the Conservative Crack-Up. What he was writing about was, somebody mentioned Goldwater the other day. Who was it? It wasn't me. Somebody else said Goldwater. I think we played the soundbite. And they were talking about going, it was Trump. Trump mentioned Goldwater. Trump said something about, in one of those speeches or thing from the White House, he said something about Barry Goldwater, and had Goldwater not come out and had rang the bell, basically went, "Hey man, this thing gets out of control. We're all gonna be in big trouble." Look, you can go and listen to Ronald Reagan's. They made an album out of this. It's called. Maggie, you can find it. It's called A Time for Choosing. It's a famous speech that Reagan gave before he ran for governor the first time. And it's actually worth listening to because he said some things in there. He was talking about Social Security. I think it was in 1964. A Time for Choosing. And Reagan was saying that the actuator, or not the actuator, the auditor, or whatever the hell he was called, the Social Security Trust Fund had said that Social Security was going to be broke. Was it 64? Before the end of this decade. That was in 1964. They were predicting doom for Social Security. And here we are. It's 2025 and it's still here. Go figure. So in any event, the internecine wars, what I was talking about with the 11th Commandment and Little Ben Shapiro declaring war on Candace Owens, and then declaring war on Tucker Carlson, and declaring war on Megyn Kelly, and then saying that, he was officially kicking them out of the conservative movement, that apparently he believes that somebody died and made him king, and that he supposedly now has the upper hand in choosing these things. And then this led to Megyn Kelly was asked the question, well, what do you think about being kicked out? What do you think about being singled out? And she goes on to say that, well, I made that punk a star because I put him on my show when I was on Fox News back in the day. He was nobody. And I didn't realize that somebody had died and made him king. I think, again, for all of you that have accused me of bread and circuses, to me, this is the ultimate bread and circus. And again, I'm on the side of the fence. I think that this is all stupid and ridiculous and petty. And I think it's a bunch of people that are competing again for clicks and likes. So somebody even said from the stage, I heard you play it today, Maggie. I'm trying to remember who it was. They were talking about online conservatism. And I'm like, if that is an actual thing, it needs to be killed. You need to take a fork and a knife and you need to kill it. Maybe it was Megyn Kelly who said online. Like, what the hell is online conservatism? It's stupid. That's what it is. So we shall talk about all of these things. By the way, congratulations to Governor Jeffrey Landry of the great state of Louisiana, who has been appointed special envoy to Greenland by President Trump. All right, going through some other news items that we have here on the last Monday of Advent. Deaths of despair when the soul of a nation grows sick. This is by Brian C. Junedep at AmericanThinker.com. America's deaths of despair, fatalities from drug overdoses, alcohol abuse, and suicide have climbed for more than 2 decades, reaching levels unseen in modern times. The long-run trend is stark. After mid-century stability, the curve bent sharply upward after 2000, driven first by drugs and later joined by alcohol and suicide. The data drawn from the Senate Joint Economic Committee's long-term trends in deaths of despair report below are clear. The deeper question is, why? Well, the further away you get from the Rosetta Stone moment of the American elite political ruling class deciding that God needed to be kicked out of everything, the further away you get from the perfection and the beauty and the grace of Almighty God being involved in our civic and public affairs, the more screwed up people are in the head. So if you look at that chart, that is a stunning chart. What is it? Okay, deaths per 100,000. Look at the year that is. Maggie just put it in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. Okay, so it's 23 per 100,000, if I'm reading that right, in the year 2000. Now it's doubled. It's 46 per 100,000 classified as deaths of despair.
You know it. You can look at our chat room and tell that.
Maggie said all you got to do is visit the Crusader Stadium chat room on any day and you'll see why. Or you can see it being acted out in real time. Well, I think that that cynicism let's see, they tell you to not give in to, it's not despair, discouragement. I think that discouragement is an industry today. So maybe a way to look at this is, okay, all right, well, let's make 2025 the last year that deaths of despair go up. Well, how are you going to do that, genius? Well, I don't know. I might have some ideas. Maybe more devotion or dedication to prayer. Maybe more devotion and dedication to things, religion, things even if they're not religious, based around the good, the true, and the beautiful. You know, I met a guy the other day, one of my neighbor's friends. I had my usual chain on, this one right here. And you can't barely see it. He asked me if this was a Celtic cross, my St. Benedict cross. And I said, no, that's not a Celtic cross. That is a St. Benedict medal. And he genuinely did not know. He goes, what's a St. Benedict medal? And who is St. Benedict? And then I said, well, he's the father of Western monasticism, basically. He was a saint. He lived in the 4th century. Great saint. You invoke him against evil. You know, a lot of people wear, like I have a St. Benedict cross, and a lot of people, basically there's a prayer. As Ralph Sarchi once told me, I'm like, what does that prayer say on the St. Benedict's medal? And he goes, well, it basically tells, and this was Ralph being Ralph, he goes, it basically tells a demon that God's rebuked him and that he is to, I'm trying to remember how he put it. He is to vomit up all his evil and place himself at the foot of Christ's cross. So something to that effect here. But my point is, whatever the Sarchi said, my point is, he didn't know. He genuinely did not know what a St. Benedict medal was. Kind of makes you wonder how many. And if I would have had one, I would have given him one. I would have given him a miraculous medal. Well, here, take this. I think that we have that Catholics for sure have lost, if we ever had it here in the United States, the acknowledgement, the acceptance, and maybe even the promotion of, the use of, the commitment to those four one of those four marks of the church, which is apostolic, the apostolic command. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why don't I have a miraculous medal in my pocket? We did a fundraising drive a couple of years ago and helped the sisters, the slaves of the Immaculate Heart Sisters. How many did they buy? Was it 20,000? It was 20,000. Maybe we should have kept 100, so we would have had them around here. But I think this depth of despair, I think people ought to be rightly alarmed by that and shocked by it. Of course, I'm sure that the Corona doom made things worse. You got people running around telling you that by mere association you're going to kill someone. Remember, if the kids visited with or associated with their grandparents, they were going to kill grandma. Remember the clip we used to play from that English girl, Sophie, whatever her name is, or Sophie Corcoran, saying that my life is ruined. You lied to me. And you took away all of my social networks. You took away my school. You took away my dance classes. You took everything away from me, and it was all for a lie. So, I don't want to despair about deaths of despair, but I think we ought to talk about it. We'll do it all next hour here. Your chance to make a donation and help get us that much closer to the $10,000 goal. We're at $7,000. Can you help a brother out? CrusadeChannel.com/donate.
To drink.
Oh, I'll take the Dom Perignon, of course.
Ah, the lady has taste. And you, sir? I'll just take the Diet Coke. Oh, dear. You know, what I miss about the good old days before social media and AI ruined everything?
Let me guess. No fat people outside of the circus, and Ozempic was the name of the demon in C.S. Lewis story, right?
Well, yeah. But besides that, classic radio shows with actors and actual stories.
Well, lucky for the human race, the Crusade Channel is rolling over 900 episodes of a show called Suspense.
Tweak your mystery-solving muscles over lunch and catch episodes of Suspense, weekdays noon till 2 on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and classic radio the way it should be.
I like my version of suspense. Hey!
Doesn't work without me.
And out and love strange, so real in the dark. Think of the tender things that we were working on. Slow change may pull us apart. When the light gets into your heart, baby, don't you forget about
The Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Hey, Hey folks, it's Mike Church, producer of the Shakespeare Radio Film Festival, announcing that we're offering the entire festival, including Joseph Pierce's commentaries, for just $19.95. That's a 50% discount. This exclusive download will include over 16 hours of festival content. To reserve your Shakespeare Radio Film Festival download at an incredible 50% off, go to crusadechannel.com/Hamlet.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
This is Capcom. We are ready to go for launch at the Crusade Channel launch site. New show lineup.
Go.
Broadcasting live on X, YouTube, and Rumble.
We're go fly.
Breaking news updates. Go. The Mike Church Show Band.
We're go.
We're go for launch for the Crusade Channel 4.0 mothership.
2, 1, lift off.
On August 4th, the Crusade Channel launched Crusade Channel 4.0, the mothership. And now you can see why everyone else is lost in space.
Back in the 90s, there was this thing called the cigar boom, where everyone was buying and smoking handmade cigars. But here's the thing. The popular cigars then were the best-made cigars, like Fuente, Joya de Monterrey, and Avo. Over the next 10 years, craftsmanship was replaced by gimmick and slick packaging, and that's when I decided to get in the business and launched El Rey Dude Corona cigars. 20 years later, I launched Mancipio Maria cigars, with that same principle in mind. Make a great handmade cigar, and that's exactly what we do in 4 sizes. I invite you to try a 4-pack sampler of my Mancipia Maria cigars and taste them for yourself in smooth, natural, or bold Maduro wrappers. And to sweeten the deal, I've discounted them 25% for a limited time. And as always, we include a personal humidifier with every order. To order, go to shop.mikechurch.com. Order $50 or more and shipping is on me. Try my Mancipia Maria cigars today at shop.mikechurch.com.
In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no. Get your hands off of me. You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up.
Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content, but we hope to next time. Everybody loves a good trilogy. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and now the KingDude seasoning trilogy. There's Beast and Butt Rub, Acadiana Steak, and the brand new Chicken Mamu seasoning, a lemon herb-based rub that's won trophies in barbecue chicken cook-offs. Now, we've bundled all 3 spices together, and you can get them for one low price for less than it costs to rent a movie trilogy. And the KingDude offers you his personal money-back guaranteed of your taste buds' complete satisfaction. Order a KingDude seasoning trilogy today at shop.mychurch.com.
Hello, Crusaders. It's Trader Jill, aka Lee. When I want the best in live talk radio in the palm of my hand, I always have it with the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, even for technophobes like Jim.
I heard that!
Listening to or watching the KingDude live or on podcast is just literally 2 clicks away, and installing the app is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app. Tap the download button, then open the app. Tap login now or proceed as guest. See? It's really that simple. Don't ever be without the Master Chief himself. Again, no matter where you are, install the Crusade Channel app today.
The all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app is the best way to listen to the Crusade Channel ever. And installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. Install the Crusade Channel 2.0 app today at crusadechannel.com/app. For 9 years now, Brother Andre Marie's Reconquest has been your source for best in Catholic philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pens, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and educational radio
the way it should be.
church in the whole wide world.
Instagram rap influencers are gonna love my church. The King Dude rules and influences the airways on the Crusade Radio Network.
No, nobody's gonna get a gift from me. No, nobody. No, nobody. No, nobody's gonna get a gift from me. No, nobody. No, nobody. I've always thought that Christmas is the greatest time of year. But when I look around, all I see is violence and fear. Why should Santa risk his life to spread goodwill and cheer when there's no nativity allowed in town square this year? No, nobody's gonna get a gift from me. No, nobody. No, nobody. No, nobody's gonna get a gift from me. No, nobody. No, nobody. I made my list, I checked it twice for little Dave and Sue. And if I could, I'd make my trip just to see those two. But what's a Santa Claus in this day and age to do when the only kiddies on the list are little Dave and Sue? I usually check my sleigh out cause the ride is mighty long. But I'm not leaving the pole this year, all I'm doing is singing a song. The elves, they worked so hard this year creating these great toys so they could watch those eyes light up on good little girls and boys. But being nice and Santa Claus haven't done well, you see, cause we don't celebrate virtue every night on our TVs. But Christmas is the time of year to make some amends. So Dasher, so Donner, get your team ready, we're gonna ride the south wind. No, nobody's gonna get a gift from me. No, nobody. No, nobody. No, nobody's gonna get a gift from me. No, nobody.
Here comes Santa Claus, riding down Santa Claus Lane. Blitzen, blitzen, all there's a reindeer pulling on a rein. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. Hang your stocking.
Don't worry, folks, conservatism is saved. Nicki Minaj is here. By the way, I'm just going to push back just gently on this thing that seems to be building out there. Young people's voices deserve to be heard. We need to listen to the young generation. It used to be that the younger generation listened to the older one because we were wiser and more experienced. Jobbing out, or what do the cool kids with the pumped up kicks call it? Outsourcing. Outsourcing wisdom to inexperienced youths is stupid. Again, white people are stupid. What we need to do is we need to have more young voices. I am all for young people being involved, but quite frankly, many of them need to sit down and shut the blank up and listen. The problem is again, where are their intellectual leaders? Where are the people, where are the men, primarily men, where there are smart men and women to lead? And to lead because they say wise and smart things. Yeah, but he said a great thing that oh my God, did you see this? You think you have to click this link? Oh my God. And I foolishly click it, and I get outrage porn. You want some outrage porn? I'll give you some. The governor of Minnesota now says it's none of your business just how many billions of dollars were stolen by Somalians in Minnesota. Don't worry about it. All of the rest of you people in the United States, they're on the job, and they're going to take care of it. This, while we have a report, is it, did you print it out? The winch that stole.
I didn't, it was the FBI. I can get it.
Okay, wait, maybe you could just tell the story. Here, I heard enough of it to tell the story. So,
Send it to you, and then
Okay, you sent it to me, by the way, thanks to Tracy Staller, Mary's Dowry, and Elizabeth Wigington. Thank you for your generous donations. You guys are awesome. Greatest radio audience in history. This witch was scamming. This particular scam, let me turn the blockers off and Brave. First defendant charged in autism fraud scheme. Now, I said this on Friday's show, so let me be one of the wise leaders who has a voice. It's a small one, but I have it. People should be outraged by this to the point of torches and pitchforks. Are you ready to heat tar up, dip certain politicians in it, and then cover them in feathers? You know, they only had to tar and feather like 2 tax collectors around the time of the Boston Tea Party to basically stop anyone from taking the job to collect the 2D and 3D stamp taxes on tea and other imports. the Parliament could assign the tax all they wanted, but they couldn't find anyone to collect it because people were horrified that if they were found out if they were a tax collector that they were going to be tarred and feathered. By the way, if you were tarred and feathered, you were tarred and feathered for the rest of your life, and you died. Eventually, because you can't sweat. You know, the tar sticks, and there's really, to my knowledge, there's no way to get it off. You know, once you get the tar on you, because of what it's made of. No, I imagine that today you might be able to get it off with ether or acetone or something like that. But they didn't have those kind of compounds. I suppose, you know, turpentine comes from a pine tree. So they might have had turpentine. But you, if you got tarred and feathered, you were probably tarred and feathered for a life. Which is why it was outlawed, because it was it's a torture, basically. I think the American public ought to be about ready to tar and feather some people. You don't have to tar and feather very many of them. Asha Farhan Hassan, age 28, was charged today. Well, this is back in September. Why didn't we know more about this story? We must have missed this. Was charged today by federal information with wire fraud for her role in a $14 million autism fraud scheme. Hassan was also charged with participating in the Feeding of Our Future fraud scheme, for which she received $465,000. Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph H. Thompson said today's charges mark the first in an ongoing investigation into fraud in the EIDBI autism program. Okay, let's start with the low-hanging fruit. End the EIDI or EIDBI autism program. End it. Kill it. Kill it right now. Kill it. Would you just I feel for kids with autism. They didn't do anything wrong. They don't deserve it. You're going to have to find Christian charities to pick up the slack. This is another thing, by the way, I think will help deal with this despair people running around in fits of despair. Get them involved as they once were as Christians in acts of charity, selfless acts of charity. The U.S. Attorney went on to say, to be clear, this is not an isolated scheme. From Feeding Our Future to housing stabilization services and now autism services, these massive fraud schemes form a web that has stolen billions of dollars in taxpayer money. Each case we bring exposes another strand of this network. The challenge is immense, but our work continues. And folks, you read the story, you will not believe what this woman did and got away with. But don't worry, she's a real estate mogul in Kenya now. She used $2 million of what she stole to buy real estate in Kenya. From November 2019 through December 2024, Asha Hassan and others devised and carried out a scheme to defraud the EIDBI Autism Services Program. Hassan formed and registered Smart Therapy LLC with the Minnesota Secretary of State in November 2019. Oh, wait, hi. Wait a minute, Mike, did you say Minnesota? Yeah, but don't worry about it. Tampon Tim's on it. Hassan listed herself as the sole owner of Smart Therapy. In reality, other individuals also had ownership stakes in Smart Therapy, but were not listed on DHS documents. Why? It's the Department of Homeland and Security. I'm assuming it's the same DHS. Why is the DHS involved in autism? Maybe because they were screening H-1B visa foreigners to make sure that they weren't terrorists or criminals or whatever. Well, I think that they are. They were not listed on DHS documents, including because one of the owners previously owned an adult daycare and was excluded by DHS for 3 years due to her conduct running the adult daycare center. Can someone tell me what an adult daycare center is? Do you know? Maggie, do you know what an adult daycare center is? No. Shortly after forming the company, Hassan enrolled Smart Therapy as a provider agency in the EIDBI program. As discussed below, Hassan also enrolled Smart Therapy in the federal Child Nutrition Program under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future. To run their fraud scheme, Hassan and her partners needed children who had an autism diagnosis and an individual treatment plan. Hassan and her partners approached parents in the Somali community to recruit their children into Smart Therapy. Deport all of them now. Where a child did not have an autism diagnosis and an individual treatment plan, Hassan and her partners worked with QSP to get the recruited child qualified for autism services. There was no child at Smart Therapy was not able to get qualified for autism services. Can I read that paragraph to you again? There was no child that Hassan, Smart Therapy, was not able to get qualified for autism services. Again, autism is what? It's a racket. It's almost as though they created autism intentionally. It is almost as though, whatever the causes of it are, again, it was kind of done like, hey, I know what we can do. Let's screw the next generation of kids up. We'll remove 26.1% of them from productive lives, but look at all the millions we're going to make. Billions. As a recruitment tactic to drive up enrollment, Hassan and her partners paid monthly cash kickback payments to the parents of children who enrolled their children in Smart Therapy. These people came here to steal. Kick them out. I want them all removed. And don't tell me we're just good Somalis. I don't care. Then go be good in Somalia. Go be good little Somalians in Somalia. Why are we even having this conversation today? Often parents threaten to leave Smart Therapy and take their children to other autism centers if they did not get paid higher kickbacks. So you see, they were all running scheme and grift operations, these Somali pricks, these bastards. Several larger families left Smart Therapy after being offered bigger, larger kickbacks by other autism centers. And nobody thought to look that 50% of the children of Somali immigrants were claiming that their kids had autism. Well, they were outside the vaccine requirements and programs and schedules. Hassan and her partners covered the cost of the kickback payments that Smart Therapy paid to parents through the fraudulent billings to Medicaid. Hassan and her partner submitted millions of dollars worth of claims for Medicaid reimbursement on behalf of Smart Therapy. Many of these claims were fraudulently inflated. It sounds to me like they were all fraud. And then you can read the rest of it. Hassan's fraudulent scheme resulted in Smart Therapy obtaining more than $14 million in EIDBI reimbursement funds from Minnesota's DHS and UCare. Hassan split the proceeds of the fraud schemes with her partners. Hassan sent hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraud proceeds abroad, some of which she used to purchase real estate in Kenya. Hang these people. Why is the American public not being told what these foreigners and their precious refugee schemes and asylum schemes of the real reason why they're here? They are here because we're stupid. And they are here to take advantage of our stupidity and grift. And it's all seemingly, on the front end, legal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not possible in a Christian governed kingdom, nation, or society. Now, could there be thieves? Would there be thieves? Absolutely. Would there be rapists and murderers? Absolutely. But they would be rare. You know, you have to have willing participants. In order to steal those kind of billions of dollars, you have to have thousands of people, I'd say tens of thousands of them, willing to assist and to volunteer their children or their aged parent, whoever it is that supposedly qualifies for the grift. This is obscene. Now, Mrs. O'Connell, I must ask the question. It's December the 22nd. How did you stumble upon this? Then it came out in September. Did somebody...
The FBI file was updated yesterday.
Okay, so they updated the file yesterday. Are we following someone that has that follows FBI filings?
No, it just came out because Governor Tim Walz had a press conference on Friday or whatever, talking about how he's getting to the bottom of it and so on.
Oh, play it. Digital Media File number 5. Oh, where do you hear it? Oh, where do you hear this? Where do you hear? No. Tampon Tim is on the job, baby. You're all... No. Number 6.
Wait, yeah, number 6.
Of course, he says... This administration is threatening our federal money. Well, I'll see you in court. Tens of thousands of American citizens with torches and pitchforks should show up at these court cases with the torches and the pitchforks raised in the air and demand justice and demand... You think you're mad now? Where do you hear this?
Look, who's ever in charge, and I said, unlike the president, I'm the governor now. Whether these programs happened before we got here or afterwards, it doesn't matter. We're here now. We're the ones fixing it. You have my guarantee on this is that I certainly will have this thing fixed, and you see that we're on the front end of it. That's how this works. And so would I have wanted to stop this? Would I have gone out? You know, if you think the governor goes out and checks somebody on Medicaid and if they were there, no, but that's somebody in government needed to do that. And if they didn't do that, or if there were loopholes in this, and what we found is these are poorly written and it left openings, and the goal was to get the money out. We'll fix that. But yeah, I'll take accountability for it. But what you're seeing here is you're seeing a weaponization. We'll continue to fix it. They're going to continue to come up with numbers that don't have it there, and it's sensationalized. I don't expect anything different from this administration.
He's on the front end of it. Don't you worry about it, tax-paying stooge. Tampon Tim's he's on the job and he's in control of it. The money's already gone, dummy. You can't be on the front end of it. Oh, you're going to maybe stop future theft. Ladies and gentlemen, the government plane charity maker needs to stop. Full stop. You know, I heard J.D. Vance say yesterday, and I guess you have to say this if you're in the political class. We're not gonna turn Medicaid off and turn poor people down to having health care and all that. J.D., you're a Christian. You're a Catholic. Do you not believe in the system and in the practice of solidarity? You know, today is a wonderful day to actually talk about this. And why is that? Because today is the feast day of Francis Xavier Cabrini, Saint Francis Xavier Cabrini. Now, the feast has been moved to November 22nd. It is true. And Sister Philomena actually points this out in the podcast for today. But it got moved in the 1962 missal updates so that it wouldn't happen during Advent. But Saint Francis Xavier Cabrini came to the United States. Originally, she was, if you watch Mike Parrott's movie, Cabrini, she was kind of voluntold. She actually wanted to go to China. She wanted to follow her namesake, St. Francis Xavier. And she wanted the Holy Father to assign her to a Chinese or to a Chinese mission of sorts. And the Holy Father, and I guess that would have been probably Leo the 13th at that time, either Leo the 13th or Pius the 10th, told her, no, you're going to go to America. We got lots of Italians that left us here after the Papal States ended and the commies are taken over. They left Italy and they went to America. And you need to go help them out in America. And why do I say that it's a great day to talk about the fraud of government trying to play Charity Institute? Because Mother Cabrini came here and set charities up for immigrants. Exactly what we're talking about. But she set them up as Catholic charities. Now, they didn't turn anyone down if they weren't Catholic, but, you know, they had priests there, they had sisters. She founded an order, right? And the sisters dedicated their lives, took a similar vow of charity and chastity and all the other vows that the religious take. But they used, and she, watch the movie. And I know that Mike Parrott worked very diligently in developing the story to get as much of it correct as is possible. But this is what you can do when you have actual Christian charity, and you have it working towards. And what was she doing? She was raising money how? Privately. And I was telling Maggie, I said, like, just think about it. Today, here in the city of New Orleans, there is still a Cabrini High School. And I believe, what's the name of the order she founded? It was an order of sisters. I'm pretty sure that the sisters still run it. Now, granted, like most things, it is not what it once was. And I'm sure that the catechism is probably similar that you get in other Catholic schools in New Orleans. But it is still called Cabrini High School. And there is, I can tell you personally, in Norco, Louisiana, at the Sacred Heart Church in Norco, Louisiana, my great-grandparents, Dennis and Claudia Gomez, had a great devotion to Mother Cabrini late in their lives and donated money for a beautiful statue that was ultimately made and is it's in the narthex of Sacred Heart Church, still there to this day in Norco, Louisiana. Point being is that Mother Cabrini got around. She didn't just stay in New York. She made her way because there were a lot of Italian immigrants here in New Orleans. She also went to Chicago. There were a lot of Italian immigrants in Chicago. And again, when you're talking about this fraud and you're talking about, well, who would pick up the slack if we were in Medicaid and this and that and the other? Mother Cabrinis. You might even say that the government is preventing someone or someones who may become saints.
Tuesday night, 6:30 East, 4 West, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live Talk Podcast Radio, the way it should be. Okay, please enter the 9-digit 2-step authorization code we just emailed you. Jeez. What do you mean, prove I'm human? Okay, that's a car. That's a car. That's a car. Those are not cars. Please try again. Oh my gosh. I'll show you. Try again, stupid piece of AI mother. Here, try this.
Jim, what are you doing? Good grief, man. This isn't Office Space the movie. What are you trying to do?
I just wanted to send the KingDude a donation through the stupid computer.
Like Trump, the KingDude makes everything better, including donating, which you can now do by mail.
Mail? They still have that?
Of course they do, and the KingDude's keeping the ponies running on time and in business. Just snail mail your donation to P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
Ha! And you can't. You're such a boomer. Me this time. And wait a minute. I know they're around here somewhere. There! Ha-ha!
Dude, those are airmail stamps from the movie Airplane. Surely you have...
Of course I do. And don't call me Shirley. The Crusade Radio Guild is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, so your donations are tax deductible. Donate today, the Crusade Radio Guild, P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
The Crusade Channel and the slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Maria Filomena with your Saint of the Day. December 22nd, Saint Flavian, who died in the year 363. He was the husband of Saint Defrosa and the father of two saints, Saint Bibiana, or Vivian, and Saint Demetria, all of whom were martyred for the faith under Julian the Apostate, while Saint Flavian himself, who had once been prefect of Rome, was branded on the forehead as a slave and sent into exile, where he died of privations. Today is also the feast of St. Francis Xavier Cabrini, who died in the year 1917. She was the first saint ever to die in the United States as an American citizen. She is St. Francis Xavier Cabrini, who was born in 1850 and died in 1917 at the age of 67. Foundress of the Missionary Sisters of the Sacred Heart, she came to this country from Italy in an effort to keep her beloved Italian Catholics from being perverted in their faith by those in this country who plotted against it. She became an American citizen a few years before she died in Chicago. Her body is now in New York. She is the namesake of that notable saint, St. Francis of Rome, who died in 1440 and is remembered on her feast day on March 9th. St. Francis Xavier Cabrini added Xavier to her name because she wished to make the great apostle of the Society of Jesus, St. Francis Xavier, the patron of her crusade for the faith in the United States. This little girl from an obscure Italian village of San Angelo, who sent flowers and paper boats down the swift Venera River and pretended that they were her missionaries on the way to China, who was told by her doctors, her priest, her bishop, and her family that she would live a short life and could never be a missionary, became one in the grand tradition of her patron, St. Francis Xavier. St. Francis Xavier Cabrini and St. Flavian, pray for us. The O antiphon for today is O Rex Gentium. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the lives of today's saints. Tomorrow's saint is St. Ivo of Chartres. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters and contribute to the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Maria Filomena, and until next time, God bless and Mary keep you.
Thousands of years ago, if you owned a book, you had to haul it home in a wagon, and you'd need your two oldest sons to carry it into the house. Then you'd need one family member who could read.
The story of Beowulf.
Another to hold the candle.
Hold it steady.
And another to turn the pages.
Not that close, you'll catch it on fire.
The good news for you is that was then and this is now. And now you have the Founders Trading Post store, where ordering, delivery, and reading your favorite books is literally a snap. Here's what's new this month.
Bear Wozniak's 12 Rules for Manliness. Where have all the cowboys gone?
This title and many other new releases are available alongside classics and favorites 24/7 at shopmikechurch.com. You can also shop using your app. Download and shop today at shopmikechurch.com/app.
In the era of the Biden regime, the Mike Church Show lives by the creed, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And if that doesn't work, move to Grenada.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch. You have termites in your smile. You have all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. Given the choice between the two of you, I'd take the seasick crocodile.
Dolce Jubileau, that's Lo Rose of Blooming from Rachel and Kevin McCormick. A blessed final Monday of Advent to you. Hope you all had a blessed Ember Saturday and fourth Sunday of Advent yesterday. Mike Church Show here on the Crusade Channel. Live talk radio the way it should be. In the middle of our $10,000 fundraising effort here, making a lot of progress. I want to thank all of you so much. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. Thanks to Bitter Mundy and Tracy Staller. And that's just a couple of the names that I saw just during my cursory glance during the last time out who have contributed today. Thank you so much. You can also shop in the store. I'm on the way to the post office today. Maggie will box it up for you and get you that Christmas coffee gift set right out. Or a fantastic copy of Humility of Heart, or you could just buy the Stein if you want, or any of the other gift sets that we still have available. Shop.mikechurch.com. And look, if you're out of time, you're going like, well, I have a cheap idea. I got to have it here for Christmas. Okay, well, then do the gift card. Founders Trading Post gift card, any amount you want. We made like 5 or 6 suggestions of suggested amounts and what you could tell the person that you bought. Well, you could get coffee, or you could get seasoning, or you could get a mug, or you could get a rosary, or you could get a Mike Church Show T-shirt, or whatever else. There's so many things in the store. But if you're shopping with us today, we thank you very much in advance. Shop.mikechurch.com. Thanks to Bob Kopka. Woohoo! Thank you, Bob. Do not be alarmed, but WGSO's Jeff Crouere is supposed to call this program at 7:45. And he doesn't know it. We'll be doing a simulcast. Okay. All right. Go to the Maggie. Okay. Play digital media file number 1. Why aren't you talking about TPUSA and AmFest? Folks, we're going to get it. We'll get to it. Let's start now. You know what? I didn't bleep out your Candace Owens one, did I? I might have time during the next time. If you send me is it Atwata? If you send me the link and signal, I'll do it during the timeout. Okay, here. We'll just start at the top. Here's Erica.
Well, say what you want about AmFest, but it's definitely not boring. Feels like a Thanksgiving dinner where your family's hashing out the family business.
She's talking about this controversy. You let little Ben there. You should start a poll. Does Shapiro recover from trying to cancel? This should not happen. Trying to cancel Tucker, trying to cancel Megyn Kelly, and trying to cancel Candace Owens. You said to that. I never said Candace Owens should be canceled. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Didn't say it, didn't imply it, don't think it. I said some things about the entire, what I think is a mistaken debacle. Some of you don't think that. Hey, we don't have to agree all the time. But the Ben father went in there, and basically, this was a coup. And he planned to do this. So he went in there and he tried to take out, I'm telling you, he did by name, he tried to have Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and even Megyn Kelly basically disbarred. Now, I'm one of these people that I'm old enough to remember, and she probably still hates me for this, but that's okay. When I was on Sirius XM in 2014, and Megyn Kelly had this rising through the ranks of the Fox News conservatives. I can't remember what it was. It was something that Obama did. You know what? It wasn't something that Obama did. It's something that Loretta Lynch, Obama's attorney general, did. And Megyn Kelly came out and was like, this is a great, she praised it. At the time, I said, and I was on the Sirius XM Patriot channel, I can still remember the meme and the little the segment that I did at it, because we made a highlight reel out of it. Megyn Kelly, socialist. I know what it was. She was praising government-funded mandatory maternity leave. So it was government mandated. It wasn't funded. It was mandated. If you have someone that is working for you, you have to have maternity leave, and you have to pay for them to go have a baby. Now, some people are going to say, what's wrong with that idea? I suppose if you want to do that and you're into losing money, well, then go ahead and do it. My view is that maybe women should have babies at home and tend to the babies, more to the babies and less to the shoulder pads and the career. So she was a fan of these programs, and there were several of them. And people were telling me, I'm like, no, I don't think so, dude. Pretty sure that she's not. In any event, she goes to NBC News. And she's supposed to be, the new and upcoming great thing that's going to happen. And they are, they give her show. I'm trying to remember what got her canceled. Bob Cocker said, have her make sandwiches. She got canceled from NBC. They whacked her. She had a...
Halloween costume.
Oh, you know what? Who was it that got canceled because of the blackface? I'm trying to. You know what? It was It was Bob McDonnell. I think it was the governor of Virginia. It'll come back to me in just a moment. In any event, she got canceled from NBC and then basically works her way back up through the ranks or whatever the case. Gets on with Sirius XM, and as they say, the rest is history. I don't know though. And we paid Megyn Kelly sound bites, and she does make sense from time to time when we play it. These are highlight reels. I don't listen to the whole show. And again, I think that that our modern, and this is I believe a modern thing or a recent thing. I do not believe that it was always this way. But our obsession with personalities is going to be the end of conservatism. The cult of personality does not lead. Now, I suppose it could if you were a Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. And people are going like, what do you mean a Saint Bernard of Clairvaux? Why do you have to be... Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, if you don't know, was a... probably around in his late teens, early 20s, I forget the exact age, he decided that and his parents were wealthy and they wanted him to be married and to continue the family name and what have you here. Well, he decided that wasn't for him. And he was visited, he was very close to the Blessed Virgin Mary, and he decided that, no, I'm going to go join a monastery. I'm going to go become a brother or a priest. There's a story, there's a podcast of me telling the story at an event called the Chivalry Conference, which was in 2018, I want to say, or was it 2019? Anyway, it was in New Jersey. St. Bernard decided that he was going to become a religious, and he did. And he was very handsome, and he was very well liked. He was a magnanimous, manly, bold kind of young man. And when he decided that he was going to join, was going to take orders or take vows, and go to monastery, he convinced, or he was such a strong personality. Lots of his family members and friends the men went, okay, we'll go with you. And so they all went, and ultimately he forms this cistercians. I forget. In any event, he leads a lot of people, takes a lot of people with him from his village. And they also become religious. I want to say one of his uncles and several of his brothers and his friends. Now, if you have that kind of cult of personality, if you want to call it that, or was that the Holy Ghost tugging at people's heartstrings and saying, and moving men, softening hearts, and I like to pray for soften hearts and will move wills to action. This other form of cult of personality enriches the cult. It enriches the personality. The cult doesn't get anything out of it, is the point. Well, what the hell are we supposed to do, you moron? Well, the conservative movement, because it never was centered around God and the practice of the Christian, dare I say, the Catholic faith. It was always centered around what Americans have been centered around, which is a secular version of what used to be a Christian form of government. Of course, it was never like this because it was never divvied up amongst men so that they could screw it up in this thing called democracy. So the conservative movement had its great thinkers. You know, when I finally get around, and I got a lot of work to do on this. It's just it's a large editing job to edit the sharp stuff, and I'm off to a good start. And once I get most of the pieces lined up, it'll just then be a matter of, okay, what are we going to leave in and what are we going to cut? But you know, John Sharp mentions some of the heroes, the literary heroes that kind of led him on his journey, and he particularly mentions Father Fahey and the books that Father Fahey wrote. That is an intellectual thought leader. Whether we can't all read Father Fahey. Well, yeah, you could. You know, there was also, he mentioned, and this guy didn't write as a Catholic, he wrote secular, but he was brilliant. His name was Richard Weaver, and Weaver wrote the book, Ideas Have Consequences, because they do. He also wrote The Southern Tradition at Bay. He was a scholar and a Southern gentleman, and there were others. These people are missing. These people are missing. These outrage porn gotcha interviews are all fine and dandy. Well, I didn't know that conspiracy, and I didn't know this and that. Okay, fine. Now you know. Fantastic. What are you going to do with it? What to do with the intel? And again, this is where, and then, you know, you would hope that this comes from the pulpit, ultimately. And it doesn't. And well, I shouldn't say it does. It doesn't. It's not as popular as it should be or it needs to be. So then Steve Bannon gets in on the mix, and Bannon's like, Ben, you know, you can't. You're not a canceller, dude. You don't get to make the decision of who gets canceled and who doesn't. You have the Bannon clip. How long? Yeah, play it.
Now, Benji Shapiro sat up here last night, and he was all,
Benji.
you know, it's all about the truth. Ben, I've known you a long time, brother. You can't handle the truth. Let's face it, Ben Shapiro is the farthest thing from MAGA. Let's be blunt. He is a hardcore never Trumper. He's a hardcore never Trumper. In the spring of 16, he tried to upend Breitbart. He walked off the job, made a big deal about some incident in Mar-a-Lago with Corey Lewandowski. He tried to turn it to Ted Cruz from Donald Trump because he hated Donald Trump. In the general election, he barely supported Donald Trump. The first sign of when President Trump gets sent back to Mar-a-Lago, the very first individual that jumped on the Ron DeSantis train, the Israel First train, was Ben Shapiro. And those are the darkest days we had. In 21 and 22, you guys were there. He's consistently been against Trump, and now that President Trump doesn't back the Greater Israel Project. What is Greater Israel? It's not about Israel itself. It's about an expansionist Israel, an imperial Israel that Netanyahu and that crowd have thought up. And the Israel First crowd is Ben Shapiro, Tel Aviv Mark Levin, and many others that want to put that ahead of America's interests.
Tel Aviv Mark Levin. So they had the Israel First and Israel Only contingency there, led by Shapiro. And one of the weird things that they had at Amfest, they had a replica. This is so bizarre. They made a replica of the tent under which Charlie Kirk was murdered. So you could take a selfie in it. Did they have a life-size cutout of Charlie in there? I mean, look at this. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Ted. There's a picture of Charlie, and there's a picture of him talking. That's not that day because he had a white T-shirt on that day. But you could go in that tent and you could take a selfie. As a matter of fact, someone actually live blogged it, went in there and went, "Oh, look, it's so cool. I could take a picture with this Charlie, where Charlie was, and then the Charlie tent." Look, if you want to do that kind of as a memorial of some sort and put stanchions around it, with the red ropes, you can't go in. Do it classy. I'm all for that. And again, that would be a classy way to do it. This is just, it's creepy. It's more. What did I say, Maggie? I said that's macabre. That is macabre. The hell is going on? What? I'm just reading through your wonderful comments in the chat room today. Elroy says instead of TPUSA, it could be TMZ for Conservatism. No, it could be. Folks, the only person that I heard, and we listened to a lot, the only person that I heard that I went, okay, that's actionable. No, somebody else said it. Because Tulsi and Byron Donalds, Byron Donalds actually talked important stuff. He actually talked about Sharia law and that we have to stop it and that you have to make it known. No, you're not going to do it. You know what Tulsi Gabbard said? Tulsi Gabbard actually said, folks, my friends, she uttered a truism. She said that in the Houston, Texas area, there is a pocket, and we knew this, we've covered this story, where Sharia law is being practiced. The cops, the mayor, the city government knows about it, and they've done nothing to stop it. Remember, this is what prompted Governor Abbott, when he learned about it, to come out and say, that's not going to happen in Texas. And I'm going to order the Attorney General to find out who in the hell you are and anyone that you so-called prosecuted, and we're going to liberate them. And we're going to put you out of business. Well, I don't know that they've done it yet, because Tulsi was talking about it, and it sounded to me like it's still here. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, this is the American put up or shut up moment. You have to, Americans have to, come, you're either going to go one way or the other. Either you pull the drawbridge up and you say, we don't need any more immigrants, and we're not taking any in for 50 years, okay? We're going to have a moratorium. And then you make America great from inside America with Americans. Or you just go like, okay, screw it. We're just going to become the third world backwater for the rest of the planet. Pick.
Win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio, the way it should be.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com.
50,000 kilowatts from atop the tallest radio tower on the planet. We are KRSD, the Crusade Channel. Madisonville.
Well, it's what our call letters would be.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different, like a symphony of facts.
And now, from the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Monday, December 22nd, 2025. I'm Janet Huxley of the Crusade Channel News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report brought to you by the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, the best way to listen to the KingDude ever, and installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. It's literally that easy. Here's what to listen for this hour. Vice President J.D. Vance closes out America Fest 2025. The elite Massachusetts boarding school rocked by teacher scandal and institutional cover-up allegations. Trump economist predicts biggest refund cycle ever. Epstein seen kissing and cuddling little girls. San Francisco power outage puts 130,000 in the dark as self-driving car service stops vehicles in the street. Vice President J.D. Vance closed out America Fest 2025, Turning Point USA's first convention since founder Charlie Kirk's assassination, by telling the crowd that the America First movement is open to free thinkers who love their country. Vance appeared shortly after Erica Kirk, who took TPUSA's reins after her husband's death in September, held a discussion with surprise guest Nicki Minaj. The vice president told the crowd that the political coalition formed by President Trump is strong enough to surmount disagreements within. People of every faith come to our banner because they know that the America First movement will make our lives better, he went on. They know Democrats don't care about anything other than transing their kids. A prestigious all-girls boarding school in Massachusetts where students pay up to $79,000 a year for tuition and room and board is facing a sweeping sexual abuse scandal after a newly released independent investigation found decades of misconduct by multiple employees and years of institutional failures that allowed alleged predators to remain in the classroom. The investigation centers on former Miss Hall's school history teacher Matthew Rutledge, who taught at the elite Pittsfield, Massachusetts campus for more than 30 years. A leading contender to become President Trump's next Federal Reserve chair said the administration expects larger tax refunds and higher take-home pay next year, as many Americans continue to express concerns about affordability. But we're going to see the biggest refund cycle ever in the history of America, and people are going to get massive refund checks, National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett said in an interview on Fox. Our quote of the day: in her voyage across the ocean of this world, the church is like a great ship being pounded by the waves of life's different stresses. Our duty is not to abandon ship, but to keep her on her course. St. Boniface. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for cappuccino holy roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
You can learn all about today's Saint of the Day at the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. Now, looking at headlines from around the world today, the latest collection of Epstein file photos released by the Justice Department includes disturbing pictures that appear to show the dead pedophile kissing and cozying up to little girls. One image displayed on a wall shows a naked infant in a bath. The never-before-seen snapshots were framed and displayed on an intricately carved wooden bookshelf at his estate on Little St. James Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The unnamed kids appear to be much younger than the teenagers who Epstein confessed to paying for sex as part of his sweetheart deal with federal prosecutors in 2008. And the new photos come as one whistleblower was vindicated by the document dump after she said she warned the FBI in 1996 about Epstein's sickening interest in child pornography. It's not clear who the children are or if any of them are Epstein's victims. In the new photos, He's seen draped in a robe, looking content, with his eyes closed as he cradles what appears to be a very young blonde girl in his arms. Another shows him smiling while seated in a plush seat on a private jet with his arm wrapped around a girl wearing a powder blue sweatshirt. He looks directly at the camera as he kisses a redheaded girl wearing what appears to be pigtails in another chilling photo. A massive power outage plunged large portions of San Francisco into darkness on Saturday, knocking out electricity to about 130,000 homes and businesses, leaving self-driving cars stalled in city streets. Pacific Gas and Electric did not immediately say what caused the blackouts to roughly 1/3 of the utility company's customers in that city. Fire officials posted on X about 3:15 that at least some of the blackouts were caused by a fire that broke out inside a PG&E substation. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
Thousands of years ago, if you owned a book, you had to haul it home in a wagon, and you'd need your 2 oldest sons to carry it into the house. Then you'd need one family member who could read.
The story of Beowulf.
Another to hold the candle.
Hold it steady.
And another to turn the pages.
Not that close, you'll catch it on fire.
The good news for you is that was then and this is now. And now you have the Founders Trading Post store, where ordering, delivery, and reading your favorite books is literally a snap. Here's what's new this month.
Flee from Heresy, from the one and only Bishop Athanasius Snyder, a Catholic guide to ancient and modern errors.
This title and many other new releases are available alongside classics and favorites 24/7 at shopmikechurch.com. You can also shop using your app. Download and shop today at shopmikechurch.com/app. In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no. Get up! Get your hands off of me. You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up! Jeez.
Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content, but we hope to next time.
Hey, Mrs. McGillicuddy, don't be a satellite radio snob and pass by the Mike Church Show. Come on in and browse.
May I help you?
Oh, no thanks, sir. Just browsing.
How long do you intend to browse?
Well, that lady there. You didn't ask her how long she intends to browse. How come you're asking us how long we intend to browse?
You don't look like browsers.
Now that that's over,
How about a Fresca?
the Mike Church Show, entertaining browsers and fans since 1992 on the Veritas Radio Networks. Crusade.
Mush! Don't you understand North Pole talk? Mush! What's this? Hey, you get frostbite that away.
Who are you?
Who am I? The name's Yukon Cornelius, the greatest prospector in the North. This is my land, and you know, it's rich with gold. Gold! Gold and silver, silver and gold. Wahoo! Nothing.
I'm Mr. White Christmas, I'm Mr. Snow. I'm Mr. Icicle, I'm Mr. Ten Below. Friends call me Snow Miser, whatever I touch turns to snow in my clutch. Ha ha! I'm too much. He's Mr. White Christmas, he's Mr. Snow. That's right. He's Mr. Icicle. He's Mr. Ten Below. Friends call me Snow Miser, whatever I touch turns to snow in my clutch. He's too much. I never wanna know a day that's over 40 degrees. I'd rather have it 30
All right, we are at $7,956. That's $2,044 to go. Here and our December crowdfunding effort here for the Crusade channel. And thanks to all of you who have donated so tremendously, so generously, and so mightily. Who's next? And nice to get to the 10 today. We have 2 shows left, though. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. We are also your home for gift cards. And if you, there's lots of stuff to give away in the Founders Trading Post store. Your friends and family members can find something. Most people drink coffee or cook food. A nice little bottle of Beast and Butt Rub, or Acadiana steak seasoning, or Chicken Mamu. Your friend, family member, enemy will love it. Get a gift card at shop.mikechurch.com. Shop.mikechurch.com. Thanks to Larry Strazalka. I hope I'm saying that right, Larry. Thanks for your donation and all those others who have contributed today. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. All right, Maggie. All right, you heard what's wrong now? Y'all need to make bigger donations. Maggie's having a rough day.
My computer's having a rough day.
Her computer's having a rough day. Are you about to make a frisbee out of it?
I'm about to chunk it.
You are about to go Mike Church on it? Don't do that. No. Only I can do that. All right. So we were talking about TPUSA, AmFest, and the internecine feud that is going on twixt the Benfather and Candace Owens, Steve Bannon, everyone, eventually everyone else. I think that the Benfather has done. How did this guy ever? Whoever said? This is the problem of people proclaiming people that are fakes and grifters, and certainly not MAGA conservative. Let me just tell you a story, quickly. It's an old story. Put up a chair, and I'll tell you an old story, because I'm an old storyteller. It's one of those really old stories, the ones I used to tell you all the time. When we played the theme song music. It's an old story. You're all ready for me to tell you an old story. Well, the story goes way back to 2016, because I'm an old storyteller and I've been around a long time. All right, I'll drop the voice. In May of 2016, the year of our Lord and Savior, Anno Domini 2016, because many of you have wondered about this, and I never said anything about it, but I knew what was going on. I figured it out, and it was probably because I heard a repeat of the show in question, and I went, oh, okay, well, now I know what happened. At the time, I didn't make the connection, but I later would make the connection. Many of you will remember, and some of you continue to still burst into the chat room like the proverbial bull in a china shop without any manners, and just burst in there and blah! Vomit some question out and demand an answer and imply that there's something untoward about the host and that I caused whatever your dilemma is, and I should fix it. Okay. In May of 2016, and some of you will remember this, here on the Crusade channel, we did our regular Friday movie review segment with Debbie Schlussel. And at the start of the segment, I can't remember what the movies were when we did the movies, and everything was going fine and well until the end. And I can't remember how it came up, but I brought up Patrick J. Buchanan. and Schlussel went postal. She called him a racist, she called him a bigot and an anti-Semite and an Israel hater and all this. And I said, I don't think that Pat's any of those things, Debbie. And we had a little mild discussion. She goes, well, he is, and I'm really disappointed to hear you say that. And I said, well, he's a friend of mine. Of course I'm going to say, I love Pat. That was the last I ever heard from Miss Schlussel. Maggie called her every week to do the movie reviews for 6 weeks, and she refused to answer. We sent emails, no answer. We sent text messages, no answer. We tried email addresses and emailing from the contact form on her site, no answer. So in other words, and she's a, quote, conservative. Ah! No, she's a Lukid Levin. She was more Israel than she was America. And she figured out, she deduced that I must be this Catholic wacko because I liked Buchanan. And I thought highly, and I still do, of Pat and of his work. So calling Pat an anti-Semite and me defending him is the same thing as me being an anti-Semite. And she never spoke to us again until earlier this year when I went on Twitter and said something about the bombing and the killing of children by the Likud army and the IDF in Palestine. And then she jumped in to inform me that she was ashamed of me again, and how dare I speak out against the holiness of the Israelis and their right to self-exist and to protect themselves and what have you. And I didn't respond to her. I responded in general and went like, well, they're not protecting themselves in my view. This is exactly as people are describing it. And I think it's an abomination. It's a war crime, and it needs to stop. So, people that become infected with this thing called Zionism are incorrigible. They're not your friends, and they won't be your America First friend because they don't think it. Because they have bought into this Judeo-Christian nonsense, hook, line, and sinker, that like Nikki Haley. I mean, and Ted Cruz. They are more devoted to the geography of a country and to the sovereignty and the preservation of a country. And look, if that's what you are, hey man, fine. Again, my church does not go around telling people what to think. I just don't do it. Now, I may choose to like, well, I disagree with you, and I don't think we ought to be partners anymore, or something, because we're just going to wind up getting into arguments or fights, especially over something I think that is, to me, is as simple as that. But I don't go around telling people what to think about things. You want to think that, bro? You go right on ahead and think it. That is up to you. I'm going to tell you what I think about it, and that's fine. And if you choose not to listen or watch anymore, or you cancel or whatever, okay, well, it was great while you were part of our family. I hope you will someday forgive us for whatever slight it is that we have committed, and that you'll rejoin the clan, if you will. But Debbie Schlussel could not accept me and Buchanan in the same way that Shapiro can't accept anyone and Buchanan, or Buchanan brigades, or make America great again. No, as long as Israel's great, well, then you can make America great again. But we got to do Israel first. Bull. And if you want to do that, and you want to think that way, then you go ahead and do it. Again, I think that the mistake that one of the mistakes that we make is that, no, we have to win him back to our way of thinking. Well, you can, but you don't have to. And this is, again, ladies and gentlemen, why the intellectual thought leaders are needed. And when you say, well, can you describe what an intellectual thought leader is? I can give you examples. It's just like we were talking about earlier. What conservatism needs is to listen to the youths. Utes aren't very conservative, and the ones that are, that's fine. And yeah, they have a seat. They get a seat at the table. But it used to be, and this is the way it ought to be, the older people are wiser. We have more wisdom. Why? Because we've been burned. We've been burned. We've been lied to. We've been set up. We've been scolded. We've been disappointed. Many of us are cynics now. And maybe some of that cynicism is it's something that protects you from making other mistakes. Back in the 90s when I was coming up, they used to have this rag that was published, and I loved reading this. It was called the Conservative Chronicle. William Murchison, Joe Sobran, Paul Harvey, Warren Brooks while he was still alive. Samuel Francis. I'm trying to think of some of the people that were that wrote L. Brent Brazell III. There are a lot. There's some of the old Triumph writers you could get in the Conservative Chronicle, and they wrote on current events, and it was intellectual. It was thought provoking. It wasn't about the cult of personality. It wasn't this personality versus that personality and what this personality thought about that. It was about ideas, and they had consequences in the way that maybe we should think about ideas. Like I said earlier, stop thinking about charity as something government does. It sucks at it. And we need to say loudly and forcefully, we don't want government to do charity anymore. It needs to get out of that business. Or maybe that's the problem. It's turned into a business. And it needs to stop. That isn't, I think, give me the intellectual argument. I can give you the intellectual argument. Solidarity, subsidiarity. The Christians will do it. The Mother Cabrinis will arise, and they will do it, as they once did. And you won't be charged for it unless you choose to donate. So, a year's going to wrap up and people are going to make New Year's resolutions. I think we should all make a New Year's resolution that we're all going to work on setting brush fires of new Christendom. You all complain about politics. You all say you hate them. You all say they don't work. You all want to secede. Okay, fine. Secede into what? A Judeo-Christian Zionist state that's just smaller than the federal one? What good is that going to do? 5 years ago, there was some serious writing that was going on at newpolity.com. Michael Hanby and Mark Barnes and Andrew Willard Jones and others. I think that ought to you should go back to that. Also, I think when we finally start releasing, I believe this is where we'll release it in parts. My interview with Commander John Sharp. I think that he could be a thought leader. I don't think he wants to be, but I think that he could. And I think Sharp has a lot of good things to say. It's one of the things is you have to try to guide those conversations. But I think that's where we ought to do more of that. So, and I'm not knocking anyone in individual. I'm not saying that, what are you saying, that Tucker's not? Well, I think that he could be. And I think that there is an attempt to have, and we also need journalists. And I think Tucker, for the most part, is a pretty good journalist. He gets a lot of things right. But let's distinguish. As Brother Francis used to say in Philosophia Perennis, we distinguish, we don't divide. So here, I want to talk about this for the rest of the segment. Play Digital Media Found number 12. I want to ask the audience, do you have the intellectual argument against VeggieTales MAGASwammied? I love that Parrot calls him VeggieTales. It is funny. Let's do it.
Vision of American identity that's emergent in certain corridors of the online right. And it says that your identity as an American is based on your lineage. That how long you have been in the country, your lineage and your genetics tied to the blood and soil of the country determines how American you are. It is the idea of a heritage American that says the truest form of an American is somebody who is a descendant of the American Revolution period or before. And I will tell you, this idea of the heritage American, we ought to have this discussion. It's becoming more popular.
You want to have it? Fine.
I think the idea of a heritage American is about as loony as anything the woke left has actually put up. There is no American who is more American than somebody else. The American quality, it's not like the left, they believe in this non-binary stuff. There's no non-binary American. It is binary. Either you're an American or you're not.
No, VeggieTales, it's not binary. Now, is there an intellectual argument? See, this is the thing. I don't want a polemical argument. I want an intellectual. What's the intellectual argument? The intellectual argument is very simply daughters of the American Revolution, sons of Confederate veterans. What's the name? The Society of the Cincinnati. I'm just giving you a few groups here. There are literally hundreds of them out there. You could say that you are a fifth-generation Knight of Columbus. Does that make you more American than someone else? Yeah, it does. And again, the idea here is that no, Americanism means you bring things in from the outside and it makes us all diversified and stuff and better. No, I don't believe that. Look, James Fishback is now running for governor of Florida. And by the way, Fishback's running a pretty good campaign. I've seen his ads. They're really good. The media and the Republican Party hates him. But the last ad I saw from James was really good. I'd vote for that guy. Hell, I'd campaign for him. No knock against Byron. I like Byron Donalds. I think that Byron Donalds is in the political class. I think James Fishback is in the MAGA class. He's in the working class. He's in the practical class. There's a difference. And I think that Fishback has more to offer, but you know what? If he stays in too long, then he becomes a member of the political class, kind of like Trump, which I hope he never becomes a permanent member of that class. Yeah, we bombed Syria over the weekend. Fox News was going yucking it up, showing soldiers with Sharpies signing, autographing missiles. So stupid, so petty. So what is the argument against Vivek MAGASwammied, or against VeggieTales MAGASwammied? Well, the argument is skin in the game. You have a stake. Can I tell you that it's a shame that we had such internecine feuds ourselves that we stopped having Congresses. You'd hope the Congresses would grow from 125 to 200 instead of from 125 to 37. That's all on you people. Well, no, you did it, TK. Okay, fine. We tried to put them on, and it's a shame because let me tell you, and there's still a member or two came to some of the Congresses that still talk about them in the most unflattering of terms. It was not an event where we LARPed. It had nothing to do with live action role playing because you took the name of, and you took it seriously. Look, Jacqueline and Steve Sharp still call their place Regnum Sancti. That you took that you named your place your kingdom. What was so silly about that, Keith? And why are you still mocking me in online groups? Still. Oh, yeah, still. One of the requirements that we made in our group, in order to, in the new Christendom that we were forming, in order to hold a public office, you had to be third-generation property owner. And by the way, that was Brian Kay's idea. I said second generation. Brian's like, no, that ain't long enough, third. And so we voted on it and came up with third generation private property owner in that kingdom. Well, according to VeggieTales MAGASwammied, that makes us a bunch of bigots, a bunch of closed-minded idiots. Because we wouldn't have the glories of people who come in from other countries and what have you that would make us all diversified and stuff. And they're just as good as your third generation. Well, no, they aren't. Not on this land. We know this land. Look, the entirety of the television show Yellowstone is based on this, what I just said. It is based on the entertainment and practical answer to VeggieTales MAGASwammied is Yellowstone. John Dutton refuses to give the lineage up of his family that died and suffered and bled to make the Yellowstone Ranch in Tyler Sheridan telling of the story. And this is why I think people just kind of like just subconsciously fell in love with it, because there was something about the land and you being on it for a long time.
Philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pens, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and educational radio.
The way it should be.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Monday, December 22nd, 2025. This report is brought to you by the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, the best way to listen to the KingDude ever, and installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. In the market report at last close, the Dow was up 0.38%, the S&P 0.88%, NASDAQ was up as well 1.31%. In National Day calendar news, today is Forefathers Day, and each year Forefathers Day commemorates the landing of the Pilgrim Fathers in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Did you know that was on December 21st of 1620? The Old Colony Club of Plymouth, Massachusetts, introduced the observance in 1769. The town observes the holiday on December 22nd. It's also National Date Nut Bread. Believed to have originated around Iraq, dates have been a staple food of the Middle East and the Indus Valley for thousands of years. Dates provide essential nutrients and are an excellent source of dietary potassium. Our quote of the day: in her voyage across the ocean of this world, the church is like a great ship being pounded by the waves of life's different stresses. Our duty is not to abandon ship, but to keep her on her course. Saint Boniface. And you can learn all about today's Saint of the Day in the Saint of the Day podcast at CrusadeChannel.com. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Hello, Crusaders. It's Trader Jill, aka Lee. When I want the best in live talk radio in the palm of my hand, I always have it with the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, even for technophobes like Jim.
I heard that!
Listening to or watching the KingDude live or on podcast is just literally 2 clicks away, and installing the app is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. Tap login now or proceed as guest. See? It's really that simple. Don't ever be without the Master Chief himself. Again, no matter where you are, install the Crusade Channel app today.
The all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app is the best way to listen to the Crusade Channel ever. And installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. Install the Crusade Channel 2.0 app today at crusadechannel.com/app. While Trump continues to try and make America great again
by doing Mortal Kombat with the Clinton, Comey, and Clapper crime families.
You forgot the...
Nope, did not. And the King of Russia treason, the Obama father.
Well, we'll always be there for you with the best live coverage and commentary in media on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio
the way it should be.
He's the non-Bud Light beer drinkers talk radio show of choice. It's microbrew talk for the macro brain MAGA faithful.
I want to talk to the idiot who put that moron on the air.
The My Church Show is on the Crusade Radio Network.
Gather around the holiday tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone's singing and everyone's laughing for what they just can't say. A holiday for Abu and a holiday for Sue. A holiday
holiday for the Mexican, the Gentile, and the Jew. Gather around the holiday tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone's singing and everyone's laughing for what they just can't say. A holiday for Abu and a holiday for Sue. A holiday for the Mexican, the Gentile, and the Jew. Gather around the holiday tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone's singing and everyone's laughing for what they cannot say.
Hey, everybody, get your piano hands ready. Such a classic piece of music. And everybody knows it. If you play it, you go, hey, that's from Peanuts. Or Charlie Brown, depending on whose side you're on. Greetings and a blessed final Monday of Advent. Today is today is the antiphons. Today is Rex Gentium. And it is so they would say that is the penultimate antiphon, meaning the second to the final one, the penultimate one. Today you can hear all about it from Sister Maria Filomena. If you're interested, download the podcast version of Saint of the Day at crusadechannel.com. And also now appearing on Pride Book. And very soon as we can do it, you'll be able to get it on X as well. But go to crusadechannel.com, and it's on the app. There is a Saint of the Day category on the app. Okay. I just refreshed the total, and let's see here. They were trying to get to $10,000. $8,136. Thank you. Now, I don't normally do this, and I would only do it in a very extraordinary, rare circumstance. Remember when Cindy Lucas called here and said she was going to lose her house? And you people were like, oh, not Miss Cindy. She can't lose her house. She is a widow, and she was going through a rough financial time. And she called in, and she didn't think that this was going to happen. But someone, or Maggie suggested, or somebody suggested, do a fundraiser for Cindy. So, and this is a one-day deal, and we raised, what was it? I don't remember. $4,000? It was quite a sum. And you saved her house. You guys saved her house. So, it is a season of Advent, and it is a season for almsgiving, and we certainly need them, as we always do around here, as we continue to struggle to try to find that silver bullet that grows that membership. So you all know him as Jim Mosier. You know him as the voice of the station. You know him as the song that we just played, and you know him as well. You know him a lot. He has been going through a very rough time. It's probably as bad as Cindy. So he wrote me a couple days ago because I'm one of the few people left that talks to him. Most of the people in that business that he's in, kind of like this one, are struggling. Good morning, King Dude. If you have any extra love, you can shove my way today. I'm always good for the work. Can you help me out? I'm losing $4,000 a week this week and next because of the holidays. It falls on my biggest earning days of the week, and people pull their kids out of school for the holidays. So he runs the music school where he teaches. So an extra appeal to help Jim out. And believe me, this guy does not live an opulent lifestyle. As a matter of fact, he probably lives as, pedestrian a life as you can imagine. So, crusadechannel.com/donate. 844-527-8723, our call in-line telephone number. I want to go back to the MAGASwammied thing that we were talking about last segment, and about how, yes, there was an answer to that. And again, I wonder, the cult of personality says all of a sudden now, Nicki Minaj, she's a conservative. Because she said she just recently become a Christian. I think she said something positive about what Trump is trying to do, or what he said should be done in Nigeria. And I'm happy to see the turn of whatever it is that's going on in her life. Fantastic. Don't proclaim her as a conservative. We are so desperate to be liked by the enemy. We're so desperate. We so want Rachel Maddow to love us. Please, Rachel, give us a hug. I don't care. We want Gavin Newsom to invite us to a Christmas party. Please, Gavin, like us. We love your hair. And now they proclaimed and they put Nicki Minaj on the stage, which we have a very special guest that's coming into our conservative circles in life. There's Nicki Minaj. Hey, look. Welcome to the party, pal. As was once said by Bruce Willis. Welcome to the party, pal. It's just conservatism. And Cajun Mama says, interviewed by Queen Erica. Okay, we're going to go to the phones. Yes. Well, let's do it. Go. I'm here.
Mike Church. Are we with Mike yet, Miss Patty?
Jeff Crouere, I am here. How are you?
Mike Church, I am doing great, sir. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Blessed Advent to you and all of our amazing WGSO family.
I just want to let everyone know that one of the great achievements we've had over the past year or so is welcoming you to our family and bringing your show on, and we're so excited that you're with us in the mornings 6 to 7, and thank you for the work you've done. We've both been at this a long time. We've got our friend Jude Kulik, who's doing a sort of a flashback show on Saturdays, and he's uncovered some old clips from both you and me from the 90s. So it's been a while, my friend.
You know, it's so funny. I don't know if he reached out to you, but you might remember from the 1990s at WTIX. The guy did a weekend show. His name was Just Jude. Do you remember him?
That's him.
Oh,
that's him.
He wrote me on Facebook. He said, Mike, you're not going to believe this. I was cleaning out an old cassette tape player that they used at WTIX. And he goes, and there was a tape in it. He goes like, well, okay, well, I'm going to plug it in and turn it on. And it was me. It was me from 1995 at WTIX. I was like, dude, you have to send me that tape. That is so awesome. I didn't realize he played it.
Yeah, so he's been doing flashback radio for us on Saturday and digging up old great clips from the 90s. And yeah, he had a series of programs on WTIX AM and was a great personality there. Got crossways, sadly, with general manager Ed Butler and lost his position there. But I thought he was always very entertaining, and we're glad to have him back here for a weekend show on WGSO.
Last time you and I met, we were talking about the good old days back in the day. And to our GSO family and people in New Orleans, you don't know, me and Jeff go like way back, like to 1995. And,
I know.
we were you and I when we were catching up, and we were talking about all the amazing radio personalities. If it wasn't for GSO keeping the lights on, live talk radio in the Crescent City is so needed. It's so important. And we are, and that's why we're very grateful and gracious that we can occupy that hour every morning on GSO. So,
oh my gosh, I mean, I feel blessed to have you with us and to have you lead into our show. And we are very fortunate to have live local radio on in New Orleans. If not for us, we'd only have a George Soros station here. That's the only other alternative. That is, anywhere reasonable. He's got a station of far left folks on one part of the dial, and then some other stations have nothing local. And then you have the George Soros station, and then you have us. So that's what we got. I mean, so we feel like we have a mission here, Mike.
Well, we have a mission for a great city. Somebody asked me the other day, and they said, "Is New Orleans really that bad?" I said, well, that depends on where you're talking about, what streets you're going to drive down. I said, but it really, right. a wonderful thing has actually happened, and that was the election of Governor Jeff Landry. And I can't thank Governor Landry enough, and I know you talk about him. You have him on the show.
Right.
Governor Landry has turned this state and the city of New Orleans around. We're not making violent headlines unless there's some Mohammedan nut job that mows down 18 of our best and brightest young citizens, like happened on New Year's Day last year. But the governor, and give her credit, Attorney General Liz Morrell does not take any garbage from anyone. And there was a story the other day. I know you covered it. The bar, Maggie. What was the name of the bar that was outing the ICE agents? They said they were going to dox the ICE agents, and it's in New Orleans. And they got a phone call from AG Morrell going like, "Oh yeah, you're violating all kind of laws." And all of a sudden they went dark. They closed all their social media down, and they unpublished all their social media, and then they. And now the place is closed for remodeling, right? Like, sure it is. Sure you're remodeling. That's the kind.
They're remodeling a lot. Yeah. They're maybe remodeling their point of view. But she's outstanding. I mean, I really give her high marks. And who knows, she could be a future governor one day. She's a great attorney general and a fighter, no doubt about it. So pleased to have her doing what she's doing. And, yeah, Jeff Landry's huge improvement over John Tinkerbell Edwards. I mean,
Tinkerbell Edwards.
You and I are here. We're fighting for this area. A lot of our friends and family have left because of bad policies over the years. And we got a census coming up in 2030. And, if we don't turn things around quickly in Louisiana, we could lose another member of Congress. We've already lost two of them in the past 40 years, in 1990 and then in 2010. We could lose another one in 2030. So we got a lot of work to do here in Louisiana. We have more people underwater as far as mortgages than any other state in the nation. So, legislators need to get to work.
Well, the good news, Jeff, is, and I'm sure you've seen this, the good news is in the past year, we are a net gain. We're plus 40,000, according to the governor's office. So I think that the legislature, the legislature did do some things, But, you've got to make the state of Louisiana hospitable for businesses and business people that want to move here, right?
Right.
And
I think, what we can do is take some notes from what Florida and Texas are doing and Tennessee, and some of these states are doing it the right way. And we can just benchmark. It's called benchmarking. Just learn what they're doing.
Well, maybe we can benchmark this thing called a levee board and get rid of it. What the hell does a levee board do anyway? I've always wondered it my whole life. What do you people do?
Prior to Katrina, they used to go to cocktail parties and junkets, and it was a place to really, live off of government. And then we had Katrina, and then we realized, hey, we need people that are like professionals. But then there's been nothing but controversy and scandal. So, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, do we need these people? Can we just do something different? But, yeah, another boondoggle, Mike.
Well,
I got to ask you something. Well, I got you. I got to ask you something.
Ask me.
You're a conservative icon, so you're certainly someone that is plugged into the movement. I'm sure you see what's going on nationally. I'm sure you see what happened at AmFest. And, there's a lot of bickering and infighting going on within the movement that I think could be detrimental to our success in 2026 and 2028. What do you make of all that?
Well, funny you should ask that, because on this morning's program, Mike Church Show on WGSO and on the Crusade Channel Network here, we talked about that. And I just talked about it just a moment ago. I think what has happened, and I think that this is a big problem, and it has to be addressed by the adults in the room, and that is the mature people. I think that conservatism now is infatuated and obsessed with the cult of personality, what I call the cult of personality. And we don't have intellectual thought leaders any longer. And we need intellectual thought leaders. So we had great minds going into the 80s. Ronald Reagan, Ed Meese, the guys that led the early conservative revolution, bouncing off of the ideas of Barry Goldwater. Even though Goldwater ultimately would recant as he got older, still a young Goldwater was a thought leader. We had Russell Kirk. We had great minds. We had Pat Buchanan, who was courageous. Do you remember when Pat came to Metairie in 1992?
Mike, I was there. I had my picture taken with Pat Buchanan. I was there.
So did I. It was at Augie's. Remember, it was at Augie's on the Service Road.
Right.
So
and I was, such a fan. I mean, his speech at the 1992 GOP convention in Houston is one of the all-time classics. I mean, my gosh. But, yeah, who is the current day replacement for those folks?
Well, President Trump. And for all of his faults, and I know he's not an intellectual, he doesn't consider himself one, but in most things, I get Trump. I say I'm a 51% Trump guy. I'm actually probably in the 80s in this term, and he has some smart people that are around him. But again, I think we have gotten into this bad groove where we think that clicks and likes and adulation of our favorite person here on this social media and our favorite person there, that equals action and policy and public action, and it doesn't. It serves the purpose of the personality. Might even serve the purpose of the entity that the personality appears on. The social media platform. It doesn't help conservatism or traditionalism or a return to either one of those. And I think that that's what's missing. Look at the Republican Party right now. If you had a Newt Gingrich, Jeff, can you imagine if we had Speaker Gingrich with a Trump? What could get accomplished? Right. So who's our Gingrich?
That would be outstanding. Yeah, that would be. He's the best speaker in my lifetime. He's Gingrich.
Well, for sure. But remember, the contract with America was an idea. It was actionable, right? But they didn't just talk. They did it. They balanced the budget 3 years in a row. They repealed welfare as we know it. They completed all 10 of the pieces, the contract with America. They were probably going to get term limits done, and then 9/11 happens, and the whole thing goes to pot and blows up. But remember, Jeff, you and I are the same age, and we pretty much came up in the same circles. I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, in 1990, I was the president of the Jefferson Parish Young Republicans, and my vice president was Steve Scalise. That's how far back I go.
Well, right about that time, I was president of the Greater New Orleans Republicans, and, Steve Scalise was doing his thing. And, I wound up running for state representative in 1995 against a guy named Mitch Landrieu. And Steve was smart enough to run in Metairie, and Steve won, and the rest is history, and I lost and got into this business. But, those are great memories, and we have some people that really did the work back then and are still doing the work. But we do need, you're right, we do need leadership. We need intellectuals. We need people that come up with not only thoughts but actions. And I don't know, I just don't see it. And I'm worried. We only got a minute. Any final words of wisdom you want to share with us, Mike Church?
Well, come on over and visit us at crusadechannel.com and say hello every now and then, WGSOers. Love to hear from you. A blessed few days remaining here in Advent, and a happy and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And let's make New Orleans talk radio great again, Jeff. All of us together.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, my friend. The incredible Mike Church with us right here on WGSO. And check Mike out every weekday morning, 6 to 7. And can't have a better lead-in than Mike Church. And really, he's been doing great work for literally decades. And we appreciate his work, and we appreciate his participation on WGSO. All right, a big thank you.
So, if all of you are wondering, going like, what was that? That was our flagship station, 990 AM WGSO, 10,000 watts in New Orleans. And, of course, you heard Jeff saying, loading the praise on us. He does 4 hours a day. He does, you had to, and you just had to do it, didn't you?
In this world where you don't.
Well, he does actually 3 hours in the morning and an hour in the evening. Wait, what is this imaginary world? Okay, he asked me about, well, what do you think was going on TP USA? Well, again, it's the cult of personality. All right, I bleeped it out. Play the Candace Owen clip.
The one you sent me in Signal.
The one I sent you in Signal is bleeped.
When Candace Owen says, I don't know, but I know, that is retarded, and we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Well, Ben, when it comes to you and having worked with you, I just know the tactics that you use to feign popularity in the public. I just know the amount of money that you are willing to spend on advertising to inflate your numbers to make people think that you're popular. So, yeah, I don't have to say we don't know when it comes to you. You are such a joke of a little man. Your jealousy against Tucker, your ability to believe that you can keep manipulating the markets. You know those kids booed you on that stage. The amount of messages I got from Turning Point USA people saying, what is happening? Why is he on this stage? Standing against everything that Charlie believed in.
Just pause the tape for just a second. Look, she's going to drop an F-bomb in here. I bleeped it out, and I saved it. If for some stupid techno reason, it's... I did it during the last break, and I'm pretty sure that I got it, and it's coming up.
You're standing against everything that Charlie believed in because you weren't his friend. He didn't like you for that very reason. I look at you, and I just think you are such a little worm. I could see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? We're going to sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction, every word that I don't like, and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal Berith. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords and that people are not allowed to violate contracts or you will ruin them for years. You fire someone and you effectively stalk and harass them for years after. I'm here to let you know that I'm done with it. I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christ is King Clavin and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew. And I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us, that they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA. Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye. The question is, how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular? How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien of the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart, before he turned his back and betrayed them too, because that is his nature. He's one of these belly creatures, sliver on. The question is, how many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant?
I never pretended. So my question is, I'm going to look right into that lens right there, and I'm going to tell you, I never pretended. I never for one moment said that he was relevant, important. Maybe in 2013 or 14, when he was on a college campus, he was yelling at a student. Well, that's because you don't know the first thing about what a baby looks like during gestation. And that's because abortion, you know, that term in a pregnancy is evil. And you just can't see that because you're young and you're stupid. I don't know how the guy ever became popular.
Me either. I can't stand his voice.
I think that the little Benji's coup at TP USA ended you. It ended you. You know, I'm going to say something to the current listening audience. Feel privileged that I'm going to say that you're going to hear something that might become historical. I'm just going to say something to you, and I want someone, and I mean this with all the sincerity I am able to muster. And this old sinful, wretched soul, well, it's not a wretched soul. I made it wretched. It's a beautiful soul. It's a beautiful person. It's a beautiful brain. No, it's a beautiful soul. I screwed it up. I'm trying to fix it. I want someone to explain to me. And she just kind of implied that he inflates his numbers. And that, because, you know, they keep releasing subscriber numbers and they keep going, you know, up tens of thousands a month. Well, to be fair, so does Candace Owens. Now, I don't know how many people are paid subscribers, but in any event, I'm just going to say something to you. And this is a question that I have asked privately, but I will ask it publicly now. You don't have to answer it, so it's a rhetorical question, but I think there's a reason. Well, I think you can figure it out. So you're all big boys and you're all big girls. Let me just say something to you. I want someone to explain to us, that's everyone that is part of the Crusade channel broadcast operation team. And even those who have been here before, say it to them as well. I want someone to say to us, comparatively, relatively speaking, where is the deficiency in the media radio product that we deliver when compared to what they deliver infrequently at Shapiro's joint, at Daily Wire? Show it to me. Let me hear it, because I'm always about improvement around this joint. The fact of the matter is, I believe most people are going to go, well, it's not. It'll be difficult because it's not true. Well, Shapiro claims, last time I saw that they said they had 875,000 paid subscribers on their way to 1 million. Can you buy subscribers? You know, subscribers give you money. You don't pay for the subscribers. When I started at Sirius XM, do you know what they had this number, and I know this because I was there at the beginning. I was in the meeting with Joe Clayton. I can tell you the number. Do you know what the number was? They called it SAC in the business. What's an SAC? Subscriber acquisition cost. In 2003, when we started on Sirius XM, I heard Joe Clayton. I heard the CFO. I can't remember his name, but Joe Clayton was the CEO. I heard the CFO at a meeting say that the Sirius satellite radio SAC was $534 a subscriber. That's what it cost to acquire one new subscriber. $534. When Mel Karmazin took over and they got bailed out, you know, Sirius Satellite Radio was going to go bankrupt in 2008. I'm probably the only one that knows or remembers this. The stock was down to 8 cents a share. The New York Stock Exchange was going to delist it. What saved it? The people that owned Direct or Dish Network, Liberty Media, the guy that owned Liberty, he founded another company called Liberty Media. Liberty Media bailed Karmazin out. He bailed Sirius out. And then the subscriber acquisition cost, it went, I don't remember what the number was, it went up. This is the difficulty. And this is while they were promising $120 million to Howard Stern. What do you think the Daily Wire then, with Shapiro and his gang of misfits, what do you think the subscriber acquisition cost is? And I bet they have a significant one if his numbers are accurate. You just heard Candace Owens say that he lied, that they lie. They lie about it. Take it from someone that can tell you that this is very difficult. We've been at it for 10 years. The best that we've learned to do is to tread water and not bleed subscribers. It's called churn in the business. So somebody's lying about something. But I think that what you just saw, little Ben, this prideful little hissy fit, that he probably just prided himself out of the TP USA orbit. Magdalene Rose, what say you?
I don't think he's out of the TPUSA orbit. I do think he might be in trouble in terms of other conservative commentators and that network. I mean, the issue here is that Candace Owens went down a really big rabbit hole, and I think a lot of people at TPUSA really mocked her. I mean, Erica Kirk straight up mocked her with the Egyptian plane stuff. So I think Candace is coming from a place of she went from being super relevant to being a little bit laughed at. And the Ben Shapiro speech is interesting to me because he is somebody who hasn't really changed his position on anything. He went back and forth on Trump, but he's always kind of been more in the neocon government intervention camp. But what happened was the entire party shifted and left him, and he didn't really reacclimate. You mentioned the Daily Wire and subscribers. I think they inflate their numbers, but I also think that their talent is not necessarily paid the amount of money we would think they are. Because Matt Walsh has talked about this a little bit. He's like, we're not making tens of millions of dollars. The Daily Wire has been built up to be a massive, massive operation. When you talk to the talent, you listen to their interviews, they're not making the kind of money you would if that was the case.
Well, let me say to you this about that, and I said this again, Magdalene. Why didn't CNN? Why didn't Scott Jennings call me to put me on that debate panel? Because I could tell you all about how the Daily Wire and companies like that work. What they do is they make you sign, and Candace Owens said it. She goes, I can tell you about his you know who else told us? Denise McAllister, D.C. McAllister told us all about Little Ben 10 years ago when she went over there from the Federalist. So I know a little bit about this. They make you sign these contracts, and they're called they're called non-compete clauses. Now, it's hardly enforceable. Especially if you're like trying to raise a family and you need income, it's very difficult to enforce. But what they're trying to do is they try to make it so that you can't go on anyone else's media other than theirs without their permission. So, and then they are going to own all of your intellectual property. So this is the thing, and this is why people are saying or saying what they're saying about Matt Fradd and Pints with Aquinas. Dude, you sold him. He owns you. You can say you got a bigger audience and all that stuff now. Okay, fine. He's going to claim he bought Pints with Aquinas, the name, and you as a representative. So you're now owned by the Ben father. This is a game that these people play. Trust me, because I signed one of these deals with SiriusXM. You know, I gave up a $120,000 a year gig doing afternoon drive at WRNO 99.5 here in New Orleans because Mel Karmazin invoked the non-compete clause on me. Wouldn't have had anything to do, nothing, with my SiriusXM morning show, but Karmazin invoked the clause and basically dared me to sue him to take the gig. True story. Heaven knows what would have happened had I got an afternoon drive in New Orleans in 2010 and that deal had actually gone through. So I know how these people play these games and what Candace was talking about or what he tried to do to her. So I don't know how much those guys are making, but I can tell you this. He did not allow them on their air without them signing the deal. If they don't sign the deal, he doesn't let them on his air. So does Matt Walsh still own his name? I don't know. Does he have a name outside the Daily Wire and the Ben father? Well, you know, he kind of had one before. Michael Knowles, same thing, same question. And I think that what you're going to ultimately to find out is that this guy, and just like all the other ones in this business, they are cutthroat bridge burners. That's what they do. Does that sound conservative to you?
Well, no, but I'm not surprised by his behavior. Like, this is my confusion with people in Ben Shapiro. He's always been cutthroat. He rose as the king of like young conservative commentators at a time where that field was so massively dense. He's raised tens of millions of dollars for various projects. I just don't understand why people are surprised by this. Like, if I was hearing this suddenly about how, like, John Jr. was controlling the young conservative world or commentator culture, I would think that was strange. Ben Shapiro's been doing this for well over a decade. We're getting into like 2 decades of this now. It's not confusing to me. And I think part of the issue with Candace Owens here is that there's nowhere like left for her to go. So Ben Shapiro, he keeps acquiring these big Catholic names particularly, and he's trying to build out that wing of his operation. And so he's in talks with other ones. There's always an effort to build that out. Same thing with Protestant Voices. For Candace Owens, and she's talked about this on her show, she can't really build a network. She says that she doesn't know how to do it, that she can't build a network, that she can't build a system of other people. Laura Loomer, for example, has built an investigative journalist network, and she has people all over the country, primarily in the major cities. Everyone is building something. The Crusade Channel was built. Candace Owens is kind of stuck, and I see that frustration in her commentary lately.
Well, and she is a talent. She's what we call an air talent. It's interesting. And by the way, Candace, I can show you how to build that network. I've done it. And again, I challenge people to go, show me the programming. Show me for the entertainment and for any other value that you place on the Mike Church Show and what we do on the Crusade Channel. Show me where we are deficient against any of those. And the fact is that we're not. So we know that there are gatekeepers. And I told someone this. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. They own the gate. The people that we talk about all the time own the gate. They let you through it or they don't. And if they decide you're not getting through the gate, you're not getting through the gate. Now, there is a way around that. Now, you can go around and then you have to go directly to the people. And again, so many people today are, again, obsessed with the cult of personality. It's very difficult to kind of circumnavigate. Like if you want to go on X.com, you can't have access to Elon's viewers or people that use X unless you're willing to pay for it. Now, there are people in the business that will tell you this. The people that run Parler, for example, would tell you this. There is no access. Now, well, do they let some people through? Yeah, they let them through so they can be gobbled up by people like Shapiro. Shapiro is removing chess pieces from the plane, from the chessboard. That's what he's doing. So, and if you're going to continue to do that and you're willing to sign the deal, well, then I think that you said he's been doing it for 10 years. Well, there doesn't seem to be any end in sight. How long is the deal that Matt signed with Ben? I don't know. How long is Knowles' deal? I don't know. Are they willing to step outside the comfort zone that you get paid something and you don't have to work that hard for by sticking with the Daily Wire? I don't know. But there is another way to do it, and we have been doing it here. So I could show Candace Owens how to do it. If she wanted to do it. She may not want to.
Well, I think another part of this is that Fox News and like the new Fox News world, they've tried for quite a few years. I think Fox Nation, their digital thing, was launched at least 5 years ago. They've tried for years now to build out in the digital space, and it hasn't worked. If you see a Fox News clip that's going viral, it aired on Fox News. It's not from their social media world or their streaming world. So Fox News, because they've never been able to bridge that gap, that's allowed people like Ben Shapiro to build bigger companies because they don't have direct competition. Like for all the criticisms of Ben Shapiro, he does give some people bigger platforms. And it's very hard to get that in the conservative world if you can't get on Fox News. So if Fox had done a better job and not just put the same people that they have on TV on their streaming platform, maybe Ben Shapiro wouldn't be as powerful.
Well, have you seen I saw an ad the other day on Fox News for Daily Wire and 2 new shows that are going to debut in 2026 that look like, oh gosh, what was the name? They look like Game of Thrones shows. Did you see that?
Yeah, and he's successful at that. Like, he does a lot of work that benefits a lot of young conservatives. And this is the other side of this. Ben Shapiro might be unpopular in general, but there is not a young conservative out there that if Ben Shapiro said to them, who's like 18 to 20 especially, I'd like to launch you or talk to you, isn't going to take the meeting. So a lot of the posturing about how we all hate Ben Shapiro, I very much doubt that would be the case if push came to shove.
Ben Shapiro has said that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was nothing more than a petty criminal who got arrested and then got what he deserved for his actions. The Messiah has not come. That alone, right there, any Catholic worth their salt, walk away. Yep. Walk away. I don't want anything that you've touched. I don't care how good they say they are. I'm not going anywhere near that place. That'd be like walking into a black mass and saying, "Well, it's okay because those 2 guys over there, I know that they're not really into it. They're just kind of here for they're here for the camaraderie." You walk away from that. So to me, that should have ended it for most people right there. Candace Owens, conversely. I mean, Candace Owens is a convert to the faith. You could see in her background there, she has her crucifix now. I don't know, I don't want you to show how big of a crusader is, but at least she is out there saying, like, no, I am a Catholic now. I love the Catholic faith. I love this part of the faith. I love that. That's a good thing. Little Ben Shapiro has to bribe, basically, has to hire people to come in and say, no, I'm not all that. Michael Knowles is a good Catholic conservative. And I'm racking up all these Catholic voices. He's working to silence those Catholic voices. He's trying to, he took Matt Fradd off of the playing field. So he took Matt, and he took Michael Knowles. So if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to pick Candace Owens. I'm not going to go anywhere near the Shapiro creep, ever.
Well, I think a lot of people would think that as well, and we've talked about this before. The other issue here is that there's not a big network of Catholic billionaire donors. And even Catholics who have massive amounts of money seem very shy in giving it to media operations. And that is not the case for Protestant or Jewish donors. That's just not something they have to deal with. So they get to build and build and build, and I think Catholics and media operations get left behind because they don't have the same type of donor base willing to help them.
Speaking of Catholics funding media outlets, you could help the Crusade Channel out, crusadechannel.com/donate. And as we mentioned earlier, our friend Jim Mosier is in dire straits right now. We have a fundraising campaign going on, crusadechannel.com/donate. You know, there is this is interesting. I'm not going to talk about this now, but I'll just throw it out there really quick. There is a group of wealthy Catholics that have that kind of money, Magdalene. I don't know what they do with it, but the name of the group is the Legatus Group. You ever heard of it?
No.
Okay. Domino's Pizza guy, Tom Monahan, is in Legatus. Legatus is if you're a wealthy, successful businessman and you happen to be Catholic, you may be asked to join the Legatus group. So there is an entity out there that claims to be Catholic and has. Maggie's father says, I'll clean this up for radio. What is it? Butt ton, poop ton, and mess ton. What's the biggest one? Is it mess ton, butt ton, poop ton?
It's butt ton because he says we all have big butts.
Okay, so no, butt ton is the biggest, and you can figure out what the actual term is. There are Catholic people out there that do have butt tons of money. Do they invest it in any form of Catholic media? I don't know. I can tell you they never invested in ours. Probably because we refuse to declare it as Catholic media. We're Catholics in media. Big difference. So, is there money out there? Yeah, there's money out there. The Protestants and the Mormons and the Jews aren't the only people that have money. There are plenty of successful Catholics out there. Where are they?
Well, that's the question. I don't see them. And this is a point of frustration because if you are a young Protestant and you know a couple people in the network, you can probably get funding for things. The vast majority of Turning Point money came from Protestant and Jewish donors. It just did. Primarily Protestant donors to begin with. They were very happy to support him. And this is where we run behind. I don't know if it's like a thing where people don't want to get too political, whatever it is, but it's a major problem. And it amounts in the position of Ben Shapiro basically purchasing Catholic shows to put on his platform. If you are a Catholic who has the means to donate to Catholic media organizations, and you saw that, like, how are you not a little bit disgusted or like a little bit concerned? I wonder where that gap is.
So Maggie just looked this up from the Legatus group. Ambassadors for Christ in the marketplace, they say they are. And then the caption is, Legatus is an international organization of executives and their spouses with over 5,500 members in 90 chapters in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. His mission is to study, live, and spread the Catholic faith in our business, professional, and personal lives. We are a community of CEOs, presidents, managing partners, and founders who aspire to be faithful ambassadors for Christ and lead as many souls to heaven as possible. Okay, fantastic. I'm with you. I'm with you. So are we. And then, you know, they have the description of Legatus today, which is headquartered in Ann Arbor, Michigan. This is not me picking on Legatus. I'm not picking on them. I'm simply just stating that Magdalene is correct. Look at what all right, Maggie, the video that we played this morning from the Baptist Church in Dallas. How much do you think it took to put that stage together just alone? Dude, that's probably, and just thinking out loud, that's probably $100,000 in the stage alone. Easy in the stage alone. The light display and all that, that's easy. $60,000, $75,000. The musicians flying around on ropes with the drums, heaven knows how much all that costs. Well, where does that money come from? Well, Protestants put their money where their mouths are. And you know, we talked about this the other day. No person could be elected president of the United States if faithful Catholics, first of all, you need more faithful Catholics, if faithful Catholics voted in a block, as all the other religions do. None. It could not happen. You could not elect a president without the Catholic vote. That's power. You know, pre to 1968, and the Motion Picture Association of America creating the rating code, the Catholic Bishops Group of the United States controlled the smut and the filth that Hollywood would have put out, and the bishops told them, no, you can't. Do you know that there's not a single film that ever got past the Catholic bishop censors that had the term spoken out loud, JC, Jesus Christ, in vain? Not one. You know why? Because the bishop said no. And if you put that out in the theater, or if you put it on television, we will tell every Catholic in North America under pain of excommunication you can't watch it. That's the power that the Catholic faith kind of had in the past and now has none of. And now we're just a bunch of mealy-mouthed weasels out there apologizing because we had pederast priests committing all manner of sex crimes. By the way, there's a study out. As a matter of fact, there's 2 studies out now that basically show that the Catholic priesthood, as a percentage of priests, is at the bottom of religious orders or denominations that harass and abuse and molest children. Just thought I'd throw that in there for poops and giggles. Anyways, I didn't want to talk about that. So yeah, it's it's an issue. You know, Tom Monahan did take some of his money and built a college in Central Florida. It's called Ave Maria. You ever heard of it?
Yes.
So, I mean, and Monahan built it probably 20 years ago. He built it as because he wanted it to be a thriving Catholic community. A lot of people move there. They don't just send their kids there. They move there. Here's something interesting to look up on the Christmas break, all of you. Look up Clear Creek Abbey in Oklahoma. You talk about an incredible story. Well, hell, look up our brothers in Silver City, New Mexico, and what they've built at the top of that mountain at 7,000 feet elevation. This is the work that is being done by really serious Catholics out there. And I think and I hope again that that we are able to make have a larger footprint in broadcast media in 2026. Now, what do you think the takeaway is from TPUSA in this event? Erica Kirk bringing Nicki Minaj on stage and proclaiming that Nicki Minaj is now a member of the conservative movement. The woman's like 2 weeks in on her conversion here. I mean, some of this stuff is just a silly season.
Oh, it is. It's ridiculous. And I actually believe Nicki Minaj because the reason she got involved in this was interesting. Trump tweeted about the killing of Christians in Nigeria, which absolutely happened. And Nicki Minaj is Nigerian. And her response to that was to thank him and everything, and then she was talking with the ambassador to Nigeria. So I actually understand the thread of how this happened.
Sure.
And it does seem to me organic. And she was talking about how she had gone to Democrat politicians, and she had said to them, can you bring up this fact? Can you try to get some, media eyes on it just so people can have some help? And they wouldn't do it. So I understand how she got to this, but I'm not somebody who is thrilled when we have celebrities in the conservative world. I don't care. And I really don't think the American people care. Like, I really don't see it, because they had the biggest celebrities in the world on the Democrat side, and it didn't matter. It really, really didn't matter. So, and even Taylor Swift said this. She said celebrity endorsements, especially in 2016, were irrelevant, and they continue to be. So when you see that with Kamala Harris and her troupe of celebrities that she paid to talk for her, it doesn't matter to me. I think it's interesting, though, like how Erica handled it. I think the way that Erica handled it was nice. I think the conversation was good. It didn't feel like it was what the event was all about. And that was always my frustration with the Kanye West thing. Anytime he would poke his head out to praise us, the events became all about that. If Erica wants to sometimes have a celebrity there and sit down with them and do a discussion, I'm fine with that. I think there was some class in how it was handled.
Here is one of the actual serious moments that should have happened and did happen at AmFest,
which issued a call to action to use American legal and political systems to implement Sharia law. This is already underway in places. This is already underway in places like Houston. This is not something that may possibly happen. It is already happening here within our borders. Paterson, New Jersey is proud to call themselves the first Muslim city. They are working to implement in their own governments these Islamic principles that are forced on people through the use of laws or violence. The bottom line is this: when we talk about the threat of Islamism, this political ideology, there is no such thing as individual freedom or liberty. As Charlie said over and over again, it is fundamentally incompatible with our nation's foundation of freedom. And at its core, when we understand that our freedom comes from God and no one else, we understand the seriousness of this Islamist ideology threat, because it means they deny that God is the one who has bestowed this right to freedom in every one of us.
She's serious. She says serious things. She thinks seriously. That is a serious problem. People may not know this, but I know this off the top of my head because I wrote a movie about it called The Spirit of 76. Paterson, New Jersey is named for founding father William Paterson. William Paterson attended the Federal Convention of 1787 that drafted the Constitution. I'm pretty sure that he signed it. They named a town after and he was at the New Jersey ratifying convention. This town is named for a founding father, and it is now the first Muslim city. Houston, Texas has Sharia law. Greg Abbott talked about this and said it's not going to happen in Texas. They're going to stamp it out. I don't know how they're going to do this. We know it's happening in Minnesota. We know it's happening in Michigan here. It's time. You know, I wish people like Tulsi, and maybe she thinks this, would be of the opinion, and maybe Stephen Miller needs to get a little more outspoken about this. Trump needs to say this, and it needs to be put into action. We're not allowing any more immigrants in. It's over. You say it was a good thing. Okay, somebody like James Fishbacker says we need 50 years of assimilation. 50 years of assimilation. I think Fishback is going to rise in the polls in Florida. Have you seen James's ads?
I have. They're very good.
They're very good. He's polling at 1%, and Byron Donalds is at 50%, and they're all out there bragging, Trump's boy, Byron Donalds, and that's just because Fishback's message hasn't come out. If there is a debate for Florida governor, and Fishback gets on that state, he is going to destroy the other candidates unless they are of the same mindset. Because he doesn't just say it, Magdalene. He actually believes it. And he's able to back it up. Now, final question for you. Did you hear Vivek VeggieTales MAGASwammied?
Yes.
He was awful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How is this guy, again, who He is a never-ending apologist for the exact opposite of what I just said. America's not America if we don't import more Vivek VeggieTales MAGASwammies, right?
Well, Vivek is a mess, and he's always been a mess, and he was terrible in the campaign. You know, Republican politics is brutal, and I really think the primary process is important because you learn a lot about candidates. Nobody, in my view, went through a harder primary than like Marco Rubio in 2016, and he never cried. Vivek Ramaswamy cried in public. And since then, I've been kind of put off, and I've been getting more put off. He is polling below the Democrat in Ohio right now. We may lose the governor's seat in Ohio because of him. He's a mess. He's a non-starter. He is not where the Republican Party is in any way, shape, or form. I'm glad that he was helpful to Trump in the election. I don't really see how, but I'm glad that he was. He's behind the Ohio governor candidate. And every time he's asked about this, he says those polls aren't real. But you know why I think they're real? Because it's not 5 points. It's like 2 to 3. It's 1 to 1. It's that kind of thing. I think they're real, and I think we're in trouble in Ohio.
And that shouldn't be. I mean, that goofball Mike drank the wine, won Ohio handily twice. JD was handily elected senator. The only scar on Ohio recently is the Amendment 1, which was basically carried by Cleveland and Cincinnati. You throw Cleveland and Cincinnati out, Amendment 1 fails miserably.
Yep. No, Vivek is a mess, and Vivek is also not raising, because I'm fascinated by this race, he's not raising the amount of money he needs to be. So Ohio is safely red, of course, but you still need to be fundraising. You need to build up a war chest. That's not happening, and that is because he was supposed to work closely with Elon Musk in Doge, and Elon didn't like him. Elon thought he was a little bit out there. Think about that. Elon Musk thought Vivek Ramaswamy was a little bit out there. So he's not getting introductions in the same way other candidates are. Elon's doing a lot of introductions to people in the fundraising world and helping. But Vivek has been iced out of that because, again, Elon Musk thought Vivek was like someone that you couldn't depend on.
Well, tomorrow is our last broadcast day of the year, so we will talk about all of this and more. So do you think among young, it looked to me like the young people that were in attendance at AmFest, they looked by and large pleased and happy. A lot of people are saying that was it for TPUSA. They're DED dead. I don't think that they're DED dead. But as we said before, it's hard. You can't go to Mars Music and buy a 3-part harmony from the Brothers Gibb. But the same thing, you just can't go to the RNC or to Oregon State University or wherever and ask for a Charlie Kirk.
No, and I don't think it was dead. I think this is the best Erica has looked. I think Erica should lean more into being like a classy kind of figure than being sort of like a hustler in this. She does very well when she's presented as sort of like the mother of the organization, of being a classy figure, kind of like Kate Middleton in the UK, like a princess of that. Don't slip into the hustle world. When she stays classy, it's better. Let the other guys fight it out. She doesn't need to.
Well, she also doesn't. I mean, I guess and I understand it. Think that they need a name, that they need the name Kirk at the top of the masthead, and Kirk as the headliner. So I understand why they do it. And she's okay. I mean, she put it this way: if you didn't know Charlie Kirk, and she wasn't his wife, and she was still the Miss Texas USA pageant contender, and she was on broadcast wherever as a, quote, conservative, close quote, outside of the blonde locks and whatever else she's willing to show, she wouldn't go that far.
No, and that's a fair criticism, and I think we all know that she wouldn't. But I will say I don't doubt her being a conservative yet, and that's an important thing to me. I'd rather she wasn't a knockout broadcaster, but I still believe that she's genuinely a conservative, and she's like a conservative mother. That matters more to me than she's like amazing at what she's doing.
Yeah, because I was in here Saturday, so I saw it. The worst thing that ever happened to Benny Johnson was Charlie Kirk dying. I saw him on, oh my Lord, I saw him on Saturday morning with Kayleigh McEnany, and I went, well, first of all, I looked, I went, who is that? And then I realized, I went, wait a minute, that's Penny Johnson. So I turned and I said, okay, I have to eavesdrop, I have to hear it for just a moment. And I am just going like, dude, you know what? You were so much better off as the laid-back dude in the brown T-shirt and the John Lennon glasses. They tried to make you into J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio, and it's not working. He is so out of his element. I actually feel for the guy like Penny. Dude, put the T-shirt on, get the John Lennon glasses back, and call it a day.
I 100% agree with that. He was like a good, you know what it was? He was the guy who upped the hype. He was like your hype guy on a college campus. He is not made for serious commentary, and that's okay. And I'd like him to return to the T-shirt.
No, and that's fine. Everyone doesn't have to be a serious commentator. All right, Magda, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Folks, fundraising is stuck at the level it's stuck at, so let's get it up over the top here. We only have like a day and a half left of live broadcasting to get to the $10,000 number. Let's see here. We will leave the air today, and the grand total was, I think it's the same as it was when we started this segment, is, well, no, $8,186. Thank you. Again, if you need the tax deduction, the Crusade Radio Guild will give you our letter of determination from the IRS as a 501c3. So if you need the tax deduction, then we're happy to give it to you. Shop in the Founders Trading Post. I'm going to go to the post office later. I hope I have a bag. I hope I look like Santa going into that joint, and I have a bag full of boxes to ship out to all of you. Shop.mikechurch.com. And last minute gift giving, give Founders Trading Post gift cards. Give Founders Pass membership gift cards. 3 months for $20, $50 for a year. So in crusadechannel.com/card, or just the homepage. And then for the Founders Trading Post cards, you know someone that cooks or eats, we have a seasoning. You can get them to try it. A $25 gift card will do the trick. Shop.mikechurch.com. Have a safe and blessed remainder of the day. If news breaks out, we will break in here on the Crusade channel. Thanks for all your donations and contributions, for hanging out with us in the chat room and all this. We'll see you later, or see you tomorrow for the remainder of this last Monday in Advent and the 6th of 7 antiphons. There's Rex Gentium and the feast of St. Francis Xavier Cabrini and St. Flavian. God bless you and Mary keep you.
It won't be long.